Chapter 1286. The top floor of the demon ceiling tower was tens of thousands of feet wide, and looked very spacious. Rows of stone men, corpse puppets, and metal monsters were neatly arranged in rows. There were no less than 100,000 of them. Su Fang's gaze fell on a figure that was heavily guarded in the center. The figure sat cross-legged on the ground. He wasn't very tall, but the stone men, corpse puppets, and metal monsters were as small as ants in front of this figure. This was a young man who looked to be in his early 20s. He wore a pale golden robe with the sun, moon, and stars as well as immortal patterns. It was clearly an extraordinary immortal robe. The young man had a handsome face and an aura as vast as the starry sky. When Su Fang's gaze fell on him, he couldn't open his eyes. It seemed that with Su Fang's current cultivation realm, he didn't even have the qualifications to look at him. The young man's eyes were tightly closed, but Su Fang had the illusion that if this person opened his eyes, his gaze alone would cause the world to collapse. What a terrifying, peerless expert! *1. The heavenly secret life shrinking technique sensed that the drop of blood essence in the Tao artifact space in his body had the same aura as this young man. Just as Su Fang had guessed, the blood essence came from this supreme expert. What was even stranger was that with the demon hand as the source, the life shrinking technique also sensed it, and it also came from this young man. Su Fang raised his eyebrows. Ancient Netherworld, can you sense this venerable's aura? Ancient Netherworld hesitated for a moment and said hesitantly, this venerable's aura does indeed come from this supreme powerhouse. Strange, the two auras seem to have fused together. Even Ancient Netherworld can't tell. It's really strange. Law, do you know what's going on? Su Fang was also puzzled and asked the omniscient Law for guidance. After a moment of silence, Law's faint voice came from the blood jade in his body. If my guess is correct, this supreme powerhouse of the immortal Tao has been planted into his body by a demon Tao powerhouse. Su Fangda turned pale with fright. How is that possible? Luo said indifferently, the devil race has all kinds of evil means. What's impossible about that? Su Fang pondered for a while and vaguely understood. Luo, you're saying that the demon powerhouse first used a planting technique to seize the body of the supreme powerhouse of the immortal path, but failed and was sealed along with the supreme powerhouse's body? That should be the case. It's even possible that this immortal Tao expert sealed his own body. After millions of years, there's no way to verify it. However, there's one thing we can be sure of. Demon Venerable Ancient Netherworld's true body is currently sealed in the body of the immortal Tao powerhouse. There's no doubt about this. The devil sealing Imperial Heavenly Seal. So it really did seal a peerless ancient devil. No wonder the Divine Wave Nation's imperial family thought that the one sealed was an ancestor expert, but the devil race thought that it was an incomparably powerful devil ancestor. I really didn't expect this. Su Fang was shocked and surprised. After repeatedly sizing up the body of the immortal Tao expert, Su Fang felt that the matter was even stranger. For a moment, he hesitated whether or not to go forward and undo the seal. Luo's voice was unprecedentedly solemn. Su Fang, this time you have to be extremely careful. If you're not careful, you won't get the treasure and you'll lose your life in vain. Think about it, the world is changing. With this immortal and devil, all kinds of possibilities will appear. Su Fang was also trembling with fear. The Emperor of the Divine Wave Nation can sense this immortal Tao expert from the devil sealing Imperial Heavenly Seal, and the devil hand can also be summoned by Ancient Netherworld's true body. It's obvious that both of their consciousnesses still exist. If the seal isn't broken and I don't get the body of the supreme powerhouse, but a resurrected immortal emperor, you peerless powerhouse, or a peerless ancient devil, then I'll be in trouble. What should I do? After coming to the god burial enclosure and going through untold hardships to find the supreme body, he also had the devil sealing Imperial Heavenly Seal to undo the seal. In the end, Su Fang was very unwilling. After settling down for a long time, Su Fang released a resurrected cultivator and used a divine ability to add the blood essence and aura of the supreme powerhouse to the resurrected cultivator. Then, he controlled it to go to the place where the supreme powerhouse's body was sealed. The stone golems, corpse puppets, and metal monsters on the periphery didn't move at all. The resurrected cultivator easily passed through and quickly arrived in front of the supreme powerhouse's body. Suddenly, the young man's eyes opened slightly. Two astonishing divine lights, one red and one black, burst out from his eyes. They intertwined and formed a strange light of destruction. With just a sweep of the resurrected cultivator's body, the resurrected cultivator, whose strength had reached the great elder's level, was instantly turned into ashes and scattered on the ground. Things weren't over yet. The divine light released from the young man's eyes instantly traversed a distance of several thousand feet. It carried a terrifying aura that could destroy everything, and it wanted to obliterate Su Fang. Heaven's secret life shrinking technique, concealing aura. Turning pale with fright, Su Fang activated the Heaven's secret life shrinking technique. At the same time, he also combined it with his perfected ability to quickly conceal his aura to the extreme. The supreme powerhouse's gaze lost its target and disappeared into space. As if he had consumed a lot of energy, the young man closed his eyes again, as if nothing had happened. What a terrifying supreme powerhouse! Su Fang's heart beat wildly, trembling, and a layer of cold sweat seeped out of his back. Luo, compared to this supreme powerhouse, is your water stronger? Su Fang asked curiously. Luo replied indifferently, there's nothing to compare. Su Fang said, this powerhouse, immortal Emperor Yu, is definitely stronger than you. You don't have to be discouraged. Luo chuckled, discouraged? When my body and primordial spirit were complete, I was a realm higher than this immortal Emperor Yu powerhouse. With a flick of my finger, I could turn him into ashes. Su Fang was dumbfounded and completely turned into an ice sculpture. Luo was really unfathomable. Looking at the supreme body in the distance, Su Fang licked his lips, feeling very unwilling. Only his second nascent divinity, and the devil-sealing imperial heavenly seal would be able to hold his own against this supreme expert. If he simply went up and suppressed the will of the fleshly body, the chances of him obtaining the supreme fleshly body were less than 10%. Moreover, there were unpredictable possibilities. It was too risky to do so. Giving up just like that, unwilling, he couldn't accept it no matter what. Closing his eyes, he calmed his breathing. After settling down for a long time once more, Su Fang suddenly opened his eyes. This supreme body contains the consciousness of a supreme expert of the immortal and devil realms. I absolutely can't rashly touch it before I've ascertained its depths. At this time, there are still many powerhouses in the demon sealing tower, as well as demons and resurrected ancient demons. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong hasn't appeared yet. It's better to let them test its depth, and I'll just watch from the sidelines. I can also use this time to subdue the giant gorilla demon, whose combat strength is comparable to a supreme immortal emperor, and make it recognize me as its master. No matter what the result is, I have a strong capital in hand, and can advance or retreat. Su Fang made up his mind, and his heart was suddenly relieved. Law also agreed with Su Fang's decision, knowing that there is no chance, but taking the risk is not fearlessness, but ignorance and recklessness. Your decision is the safest, not bad. Su Fang, you now look more mature and experienced, and are qualified to become a powerhouse in the great immortal world. Su Fang didn't dare to be complacent, and immediately released the wooling goblin, which was swallowed into its stomach, and then turned into a stone belt, and drilled into the mouth of a decorative stone statue at the edge of the space. Su Fang still didn't dare to rest assured, and urged the Earth Origin Divine Might, and used the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique. In this way, even if immortal Emperor Tian Ong came in person, It was absolutely impossible to find Su Fang. Entering the crucible transformation space, he came to the array shackling the giant gorilla demon. Sensing Su Fang's arrival, the gorilla demon slowly opened its eyes, still showing disdain. No matter how strong you are just a gorilla demon, and your life aura is about to be exhausted. Now that you are shackled by me, killing you will be as easy as flipping my hand, and you still dare to look down on me? Su Fang showed a towering domineering aura, and his voice was full of killing intent. With a wave of his right hand, several high-grade yin-yang immortal sky pills and the corpses of demonic cultivators from the 5th floor of the demon's ceiling pagoda appeared in front of him. The yin-yang immortal sky pills emitted an amazing life aura, and the demonic chi of the demonic cultivators' corpses made the gorilla demon's eyes suddenly widen, showing an extreme desire, and a squirming sound came from its throat. Then, Su Fang's mind moved again, and a mass of 9 suns immortal fire appeared on the other side of his body. Feeling the amazing fire-attributed divine might, the gorilla demon's eyes oozed with fear. Submit to me, and these pills and the corpses of demonic cultivators are all yours. At least half of your life aura can be recovered. If you follow me in the future, not only will you be able to obtain an endless supply of resources that can help you recover, you will even become stronger. If you don't submit, I will refine you alive and turn you into nutrients. Su Fang's domineering voice caused the gorilla demon's eyes to change. There was a trace of hesitation, but more than that, there was a supreme arrogance that only an expert could have. Stubborn as a mule, Su Fang coldly said. With a point of his finger, a wisp of 9 suns immortal fire landed on the gorilla demon's huge body, burning it with sizzling sounds. The gorilla demon let out a terrifying roar, suffering unbearable pain. Second primordial spirit, torture the gorilla demon until it is willing to submit to me. Swish. Second primordial spirit appeared in the formation and said eerily, "Don't worry, if it is unwilling to submit, I will directly control its consciousness and make it a slave under your control. However, its strength will be affected by that." The gorilla demon clearly remembered the divine might of second primordial spirit. Apart from the pain, there was also some fear in its eyes. That's fine. Su Fang's divine might left the formation and came to the other side of the crucible transformation cauldron. He turned into the yellow spring blood and entered a state of cultivation. At the same time, he also displayed his divine might and kept an eye on the outside through the wooling goblin. About a year later, Chi, second primordial spirit's movements came from the crucible transformation cauldron. It turned out that the huge gorilla demon had finally bowed its head and submitted. Su Fang peeled off a yang immortal and came to the formation shackling the gorilla demon. At the same time, he brought a drop of blood essence and a large amount of yin-yang world true chi. The true chi wrapped around the blood essence and entered the gorilla demon's mind, fusing with the gorilla demon's consciousness and completing the master recognition. Huff, with a powerful gorilla demon comparable to a supreme immortal emperor under his command, Su Fang was excited and happy. However, this gorilla demon was not of any use for the time being. The main reason was that it had been sealed for too long and its life force was almost exhausted. It would be difficult for it to recover to its peak state without tens of thousands of years. However, Su Fang had the yin-yang immortal sky pellet, plus the body essence of the demon race and demonic path cultivators, and even the devil hand of a demon venerable powerhouse. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One figure after another walked out of the space formation. The powerhouses of the various forces in this immortal domain, as well as the demon race and the resurrected ancient demon, came to the 7th floor one after another. It turned out that after being stimulated by Su Fang entering the higher floors of the demon ceiling pagoda in advance, the drifting snow Taoist once again united the various forces and forced their way forward. After more than a year of bloody battles, they finally arrived at the 7th floor. They did not see Su Fang, but they saw the body of a supreme powerhouse intact. The powerhouses of the 8 forces were shocked, surprised, and then overjoyed. Haha! Thank you for clearing the obstacles for this emperor. How should this emperor thank you? Chapter 1287. A majestic figure appeared in the 7th floor of the Devil Ceiling Tower. The domineering voice reverberated in the void, carrying supreme divine prestige, as if it represented the will of the heavenly Tao. Even peak immortal emperors felt a wave of oppression, and dared not to go against this will. Immortal Emperor Tianong. Although it was just a clone of a peak immortal emperor, and its strength was far weaker than the original body, its divine prestige was so powerful that it could crush any expert below the immortal emperor realm. Long Xiaojun, Huang Lingyao and the experts of Great Qin immortal world didn't follow immortal Emperor Tianong. Of course, there was no need for that. This is immortal Emperor Tianong? No, it should be a clone of immortal Emperor Tianong. Su Fang, who was hiding in the body of Wuling Goblin, cast the Tianji life shrinking technique on immortal Emperor Tianang's clone. *1. Suddenly, the Tianji life shrinking technique had a strong reaction, and the Tao of Fate in his mind quickly condensed into 2 figures. Fairy Xuanxin, Xian Yintian. He could actually sense the qi of Xuanxin and Xian Yintian from immortal Emperor Tianong. There was an explosion in Su Fang's mind. It was as if a bolt from the blue had struck. It was very shocking. What happened? Why is there the qi of Xuanxin and Xian Yintian on immortal Emperor Tianang's body? No wonder. No wonder immortal Emperor Tianong sent a message to me, saying that I would regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't come to the giant battle canyon. It turns out that he had already prepared for this. A dignified immortal emperor expert, despicable. In a split second, Su Fang's mind was in a mess, and he was about to let Wuling Goblin go out. At this moment, a thunderous voice came from the Blood Jade. The situation is unclear now. Aren't you courting death if you go out rashly? Although your overall strength is strong now, the enemy you are facing is an immortal emperor. Although immortal Emperor Tianong can't use his full strength due to the possession of another's body, he is still not someone you can fight against. Moreover, there are experts from the other 8 forces. Unless you use the Xian Ming lightning seal, but even if you kill immortal Emperor Tianang's clone, you will lose your combat strength. How are the other experts going to deal with him? Calm down, Su Fang, you need to calm down now. Phew, letting out a long sigh, Yang Kai forced himself to calm down. His mind raced as he tried to think of a way to deal with this situation, but things had happened too suddenly. How could he come up with a good plan in such a short time? Just like Su Fang, the powerhouses of the 8 forces were also surprised and shocked by the appearance of immortal Emperor Tianong. Immortal emperors were already supreme existences in this immortal realm. Normally, they wouldn't make a move easily. Once they did, it would mean that something huge was about to happen. Therefore, the strongest expert sent by each of the major powers was only a peak immortal emperor. With the help of immortal Emperor Tianang's clone, even if he couldn't sweep across all the major powers, he would still be able to suppress the other major powers. Tianong immortal emperor said in a cold and domineering voice, "Submit to me and obey my orders." The drifting snow immortal sneered. Immortal Emperor Tianang's name is known throughout the immortal realm. If you were here in person, I would not hesitate to give up on the idea of resisting. But now, it's only a doppelganger. How dare you be so domineering and want the 8 forces to submit to you? Drifting Snow Immortal is right. As long as we join forces, Long Tianang's mere doppelganger can also be easily killed. The one who spoke was Crown Prince Ziwei of Emperor Ning's mansion. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, there was a peerless expert from the Long family in the heavenly Tao immortal world. His strength was almost on par with immortal Emperor Tianang's. Relying on his talent, he killed his way into Emperor Ning's mansion. In the end, he was killed by Emperor Ning himself. His skin was peeled off and his tendons were pulled out. The dragon tendons were then refined into the bowstring of the dragon slayer immortal slaughtering bow. The two top forces in the immortal Ao Great World had already formed an irreconcilable feud. If Crown Prince Ziwei fell into the hands of immortal Emperor Tianong this time, he would certainly be skinned and his tendons pulled out. Therefore, Crown Prince Ziwei naturally jumped out and called on everyone to join forces against immortal Emperor Tianong. Seeing that some of the experts were still hesitating, Crown Prince Ziwei took out the dragon slayer immortal slaughtering bow and shouted, "I have a peerless Dao weapon. Even if I can't kill Long Tianong, I can at least severely injure him. Why should I be afraid of him? That's what a great Emperor Ning. He actually used the dragon tendons of my long family to refine the bowstring of the immortal slaughtering bow. Good, good, good." Immortal Emperor Tianong looked up to the sky and laughed wildly with monstrous anger and hatred. Before his voice died away, immortal Emperor Tianong pointed his finger at Crown Prince Ziwei. A sovereign's divine aura, like the will of heaven, formed an astonishing shackle that shrouded Crown Prince Ziwei's body. Before Crown Prince Ziwei could activate the Dragon Slayer Immortal Slaughtering Bow, a golden Xian Guang burst out from immortal Emperor Tianong's finger and turned into a golden dragon claw that was more than 100 feet long. With a horrifying momentum that could shatter any matter, the claw was overbearing and as fast as lightning. It shuttled through the void and viciously clawed at Crown Prince Ziwei's head. Crack! Crown Prince Ziwei's head was smashed like a smashed watermelon. His brain was splattered everywhere. Immortal Emperor Tianong reached out and grabbed the air. Then, Crown Prince Ziwei's body and the Dragon Slayer Immortal Slaughtering Bow flew directly into Immortal Emperor Tianong's hand. A junior from Emperor Ning's mansion and this Immortal Slaughtering Bow, one of the top 10 Dao weapons, take it as a little interest. One day, I will personally take Emperor Ning's head. Immortal Emperor Tianong said coldly and put the body and the Immortal Slaughtering Bow into his inner world. Such a powerful and ruthless move immediately shocked the experts of the 8 forces. For a moment, the 7th level was dead silent. Suddenly, Drifting Snow Reverend spoke again. "Immortal Emperor Tianong, you are the strongest here. The body of the supreme expert naturally belongs to you. However, you are not qualified to force us to submit to you." "I am not qualified to make you submit to me?" Immortal Emperor Tianong burst into laughter. Then, his voice became as cold as a knife. "Then, I will show you whether I am qualified to make you submit to me. Pooh. A wave of terrifying devil chi and death chi suddenly burst out from behind Drifting Snow Reverend, bombarding his back fiercely. This peak Immortal Emperor expert's defense was almost broken. He spurted out a mouthful of blood and staggered, almost falling to the ground. The one who attacked him was actually a resurrected ancient devil. Moreover, it was the strongest devil among the peak Immortal Emperors. The sudden change caused the experts of the 8 forces present to be shocked and surprised. Dark Green Devil Emperor laughed strangely. "I wonder if the Devil Race and Immortal Emperor Tianong are qualified to make you submit to me?" Su Fong in Wooling Goblin's body was also shocked after sensing this scene. "Immortal Emperor Tianong, why are you colluding with the Devil Race?" Drifting Snow Reverend, who was seriously injured, said angrily, "Immortal Emperor Tianong, the Devil Race is the mortal enemy of the Immortal Dao. As an Immortal Emperor, you colluded with the Devil Race. The Immortal Dao forces will never tolerate you." Immortal Emperor Tianong said faintly, "Emperor Ning's mansion, Immortal Moon Palace and the Immortal Emperor forces of the other worlds. Which one of them is not afraid of the resurrected experts of the Devil Race? Didn't you just join forces with the Devil Race to pull the Devil Sealing Tower out of the altar? Between me and the Devil Race, we just took what we needed and reached a temporary deal. It is not an alliance." Dark Green Devil Emperor laughed viciously. That's right. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong wants the body of the supreme expert of the immortal Tao, Song Huan Immortal Emperor, while the devil race wants to save Demon Lord Ancient Ming. After this deal, we don't owe each other anything. These words caused a great shock again. So it's Immortal Emperor Tian Ong and the devil race. They already knew about the origin of the supreme expert's body and Demon Lord Ancient Ming. They were well prepared and released the news in advance. Su Fong was enlightened. At the same time, he was shocked by Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's scheming methods. Those who achieve great things are really unscrupulous. I'll say it one last time. You choose to submit or die. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong said in a majestic voice. After a moment of silence, Drifting Snow Reverend lowered his head and said dejectedly, Immortal Moon Palace, submit to Immortal Emperor. With Drifting Snow Reverend taking the lead, the experts of the other forces all lowered their heads. As long as I get the body of Song Huan Immortal Emperor, I will let you go and return your freedom. But, if you're not willing to work for me, don't blame me for being ruthless. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's sharp eyes swept across the crowd. The murderous intent he revealed made everyone tremble. Looking at the layers of protection around the supreme expert's body, Drifting Snow Reverend and the other experts of the major forces were in despair. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong clearly wanted to use them as cannon fodder to clear these obstacles for him. However, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong and the devil race were very powerful now. Who could fight against them? With the ruthlessness of Immortal Emperor Tian Ong and the devil race, they would not give them a chance to live. If they fought to the death, they might be able to kill their way out of those stone men, corpse puppets, and metal monsters and help Immortal Emperor Tian Ong get the body. There might be a glimmer of hope for survival. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's eyes swept across the crowd. His sword-like eyebrows raised sharply. Then, he reached out and grabbed the air. An emperor's divine aura enveloped the surroundings. Xian Guang fell from space into Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's palm. This was the supreme divine power of an expert who cultivated the Emperor's Tao. With Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's power, he could control everything in space and absorb all kinds of auras. From them, he could deduce what had just happened here. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong sneered, Su Fong, you really came here. But you hid like a mouse. Even I couldn't sense your presence. Come out. I've been wanting to see you for a long time. After waiting for a long time, there was no response. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's eyes were cold. He flipped his palm and released two figures. Su Fong, who was inside the Wooling Goblin, saw the two figures with his perfect ability. His expression changed drastically. Then, he let out a long sigh of relief. The two figures were Xuanxin Fairy and Xian Yintian. They looked like they were only shackled by powerful seals. Nothing else was out of the ordinary. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong sneered, Su Fong, your cultivation partner is here. If you don't come out, you'll see her dead body. Xian Yintian roared, Long Tian Ong, you're the lord of a celestial realm. How dare you use such despicable means to threaten a feather celestial cultivator? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Xian Xian Fairy also said coldly, What kind of person is my Taoist companion? Why would he be threatened by you? Immortal Emperor Tian Ong, just give up. Why don't you just kill us? Then I'll test you. Let's see how important you are in your cultivation partner's heart. With a cold smile, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong pointed his finger between Xuanxin Fairy's eyebrows. The shadow of a dragon circled around his fingertip. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong, you want to see me. Why wouldn't I, Su Fong, want to see you as soon as possible? A disdainful and arrogant voice came from the stone statue in the distance. Then, the Wooling Goblin turned into a stone belt and flew out of the statue's mouth. It turned into a demon and spat out Su Fong. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was surprised. He praised, This is the first time I've seen such a superpower that can hide one's aura. Su Fong, you're extraordinary. You didn't disappoint me. Chapter 1288. Xuanxin's eyes were filled with worry and shame. You shouldn't have come out. You're my woman. With me here, there's nothing to be afraid of, Su Fang said with a smile. His calm tone was filled with an unparalleled spirit and strong confidence. Xuanxin bit her lips and tears flashed in her eyes. She suddenly felt very secure. It was as if with this man here, even if the sky fell and the earth cracked, it would not matter. Interesting, very interesting. You're willing to give up your life for a woman. This is the first time I've seen such a cultivator. Cultivators can abandon everything else in pursuit of the supreme heavenly Tao. Su Fang, even if your love is touching, it's laughable in my eyes. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong chuckled. Su Fang replied coldly, Why should I care about what others think when I do things? Celestial Emperor Tian Ong, what right do you have to judge me? Celestial Emperor Tian Ong laughed. Good, good, good. What an arrogant young man. It's been a long time since someone dared to talk to me like this. Since you're a peerless genius, as long as you submit to me and join the heavenly Tao immortal realm, I'll not only forgive all your previous sins and spare you from death, but I'll also nurture you like I did Huang Lingyao. Su Fang said indifferently, I'm afraid I'll disappoint you, Celestial Emperor. I, Su Fang, have never liked to be forced to bow down. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong laughed disdainfully. Right now, I'm your heaven. I control your life and death. If you don't submit to me, I'll not only deprive you of the right to live, but you'll also have to obey my will even when you die. Heaven? If you are the heavens, then I, Su Fang, will go against your heavens. Su Fang's voice was powerful and resonant. It carried supreme pride and unyielding will. Shameless, ignorant ant. Let's see how you're going to go against heaven today. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong sneered. A burst of dominating aura enveloped Su Fang, forming a shocking shackle. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong was like a supreme being who ruled this space and time. His every move represented the will of the heavenly Tao. Everything in the world had to submit to him. Those who disobeyed would be turned into ashes. Break. Su Fang suddenly exuded a regal aura with the aura of a ruler. The shackles of immortal Emperor Tian Ong were shattered. Su Fang's Qi of Kings had fused with the karmic luck of the violet Qi Dharma spirit, and it carried the supreme karmic luck of kings. Every single action of his was in harmony with the karmic luck of the heavens and the earth, and he possessed the supreme ability to eliminate calamities and turn misfortune into fortune. In addition, he had devoured the remains of a realm immortal from the 9th Tao realm in the Emperor Ning's mansion. His Emperor Qi had become even more majestic. Even the Crown Prince of Ziwei could not compare with him. How could the Emperor Qi released by immortal Emperor Tian Ong be able to shackle him? He is indeed extraordinary. No wonder he is so arrogant. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong was surprised and pointed at Su Fang. A golden Xian Guang exploded from his fingertip and turned into a dragon claw. With a terrifying aura that could crush everything, it suddenly appeared above Su Fang's head. This scene was exactly the same as the magic used to kill the Crown Prince of Ziwei. It seemed like a casual attack, but it was actually the heavenly law immortal world's long family's supreme magic, the golden tyrant dragon claw. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong used it casually, and it contained supreme divine power. Humph! Su Fang punched out, and the power of the thunder punishment in his body exploded. Rumble! It caused a huge explosion. Thunder rumbled and lightning flashed, and the golden claw was instantly shattered. The golden tyrant dragon claw was a magic formed by condensing dragon qi, and the power of the thunder punishment had an amazing restraining effect on demonic power. This was why the big goblin was most afraid of heavenly thunder. Although dragon qi was extraordinary, it was also a type of demonic power. It was also restrained by the power of the thunder punishment. A feather immortal cultivator, and you have mastered the power of the thunder punishment of the heavenly law. Su Fang, You did not disappoint me. However, it's still far from enough to defy the heavens." Surprise flashed in Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's eyes. He quickly struck out a hand seal, condensing a 300 zhang tall ferocious golden dragon shadow. It carried a monstrous chi that could destroy everything. It broke the airflow along the way and roared furiously. It was so terrifying that even a peak immortal emperor would have to treat it seriously, or even avoid it. Gorb Devil. The incomparably huge Gorb Devil was released by Su Fang. This Gorb Devil had just been subdued by Su Fang. As it had been sealed for millions of years, its life chi was almost exhausted. After recognizing its master, Su Fang spared no effort to help it recover, but not even 10% of its strength was recovered. However, this gigantic Gorb Devil was a terrifying existence that was comparable to a supreme immortal emperor. The body that Celestial Emperor Tian Ong possessed was only at the peak immortal emperor realm. If he used the divine ability of an immortal emperor, his body would be shattered. Therefore, its power was limited. The giant gluttonous demon opened its mouth and spat out poison like a flood. It collided with the dragon shadow released by immortal Emperor Tian Ong and caused a huge explosion. The dragon shadow was corroded and eventually shattered into nothingness. It set off a shockwave that swept out in all directions, causing the space to tremble. Fortunately, the stone golems, corpse puppets, and metal monsters would only attack once they entered their territory. Otherwise, with so many monsters swarming over, not many people present would be able to resist. Hiss! Hiss! A series of gasps sounded out. The experts from the 8 forces were all trembling in fear. If Su Fang had released this Gorb demon before this, it would have been able to kill them all. It was too terrifying and unfathomable. This was everyone's opinion of Su Fang. Roar! The gigantic Gorb Devil was over 300 meters tall just by lying on the ground, giving everyone present an indescribable sense of pressure and impact. Following which, a furious roar rang out. A terrifying aura enveloped the entire 7th floor of the demon ceiling tower, causing everyone to tremble in fear. Some immortals below the immortal emperor realm were intimidated by the Gorb demon's aura and spat out blood on the spot. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's expression turned serious. He sneered and said in a majestic voice, "So you have such a powerful Gorb demon under your control. No wonder you dared to talk about defying the heavens. However, so what if you have the power to defy the heavens? Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin are in my hands. Do you not care about their lives?" Su Fang sneered coldly. The great immortal Emperor Tianong, the master of an immortal realm, would actually do such a shameless thing? Immortal Emperor Tianong laughed. "As long as I can achieve my goal, why should I care about the methods used? Su Fang, destroy your own cultivation at once. Otherwise, I will kill Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin on the spot." Xian Yintian roared, "Don't even think about it. Su Fang, there is no need to care about my and Xuanxin's lives. Kill Tian Ang's clone." Fairy Xuanxin shook her head at Su Fang, her eyes filled with determination. After a while, Su Fang shook his head and said indifferently, "Immortal Emperor Tianong, after I destroy my own cultivation, will you let them go? At that time, you will not hesitate to kill all of us. Immortal Emperor Tianong, do you think I am an idiot? Or are you an idiot?" After a pause, Su Fang said in a cold voice filled with murderous intent, "I, Su Fang, have ascended to the immortal realm from a small world. In less than 1,000 years, within 10,000 years, I will surpass the immortal emperor and conquer this immortal realm. Tian Ong, do you not believe me?" Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was silent. Everyone present believed him without a doubt. Not to mention others, just this terrifying Gorb demon in front of them, if given 10,000 years to recover, would have the power of an immortal emperor. Moreover, Su Fang had tens of thousands of powerful big goblin and masters in his hands. In addition, he had the underworld reincarnation sword, the Thunder Punishment Cauldron, and other peerless Taoist artifacts. These were all seen on the surface. Who knew how much more he was hiding? Given 10,000 years, he would have the power to conquer this immortal realm. It was not a possibility but a fact. Pointing at immortal Emperor Tianong, Su Fang's tones suddenly became ruthless and decisive. Tianong, if you want me to destroy my own cultivation and let you kill me, don't even think about it. If you want to kill them, just do it. If Senior Xian Yintian and Fairy Xian Zi die in your hands, I will be devastated, but I will not give up because of that. I will do everything I can to avenge them, no matter the cost. I, Su Fang, hereby swear to the heavenly Tao that if Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin are killed by Long Tianong within 10,000 years, I will turn the heavenly Tao immortal realm into a wasteland and wipe out the Long family. As for you, Long Tianong, I will peel off your skin and pull out your tendons, and let your primordial spirit roast in the demonic fire forever. The ruthless and cruel voice echoed in the space, like the terrifying voice of the god of death, which made the powerhouses from the 8 forces and the demons shudder. They knew that Su Fang was not bluffing. He would do what he said, and he definitely had the power to do so in the future. Xian Yintian laughed loudly. Good, 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 this is my grandson-in-law. I will die without regrets. Xuanxin Fairy smiled and said in her heart, my man is so extraordinary, so indomitable. I have no regrets to have such a Taoist companion in this life. Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's eyes were also filled with fear and danger. Then, Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's heart surged with strong murderous intent. He could not let this man walk out of here alive. Su Fang, even I have to admire you now. Given enough time, you will definitely be the overlord of this deity realm. You may even be able to walk out of this deity realm and become famous in the grand deity realm. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong laughed heartily and praised loudly. Anyone who touches the dragon's reverse scale will be killed. It seems that Xian Yintian and Xuanxin Fairy are your reverse scales. Fine, I won't touch your reverse scale. As long as you hand over the peerless treasures you have, I will let them go. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's words made Su Fang frown. He had already guessed Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's intention. Just as Su Fang expected, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong said, hand over the Purple Chi Dharma Spirit, and I will not make things difficult for you. Purple Chi Dharma Spirit? Su Fang's face suddenly changed. Purple Chi Dharma Spirit. From a trash who could not cultivate, to a peerless genius, to a peerless overlord of a small world, to his current achievements. The Purple Chi Dharma Spirit had been with Su Fang from the beginning to the end. It was like Su Fang's living flesh and blood Dharma treasure. Not only did it give Su Fang the ability to control supreme Dharma treasures, but it also brought Su Fang supreme luck. It could be said that Su Fang's current achievements were mostly due to the Purple Chi Dharma Spirit. It was even more important than the peerless divine artifact, the Origin Sacred Mirror. Su Fang's biggest goal since he ascended from a small world to the immortal realm had always been to take back the third part of the Purple Chi Dharma Spirit. At this moment, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong used Xian Yintian and Xuanxin Fairy as blackmail to ask for the Purple Chi Dharma Spirit. Chapter 1289. Purple Chi Dharma Spirit. Xuanxin Fairy. Su Fang couldn't make a choice. A thunderous voice came from the blood jade in his body. Su Fang, the Purple Chi Dharma Spirit is related to your fate. If you hand it over, your fate will be damaged, and it will affect whether you can become a supreme master in the future. Those who achieve great things are all cruel and merciless. It's not worth it to sacrifice a Dharma treasure that's connected to your flesh and blood for a woman. Su Fang, the Purple Chi Dharma Spirit is like your life to you. Are you willing to give it up for a woman? It's not hard to make a choice. A woman is like clothes, but a Dharma treasure is a cultivator's life. What are you hesitating for? Celestial Emperor Tian Ong sneered. Then he threw out a Xian Guang, which landed on Xian Yintian's chest. Xian Yintian spat out blood and his white beard was dyed red. Su Fang, I'm satisfied to have you by my side in this life, even though it's only for a short time. Don't do anything stupid. I won't be grateful to you, and I'll be disappointed in you. Xuanxin Fairy stared at Su Fang. She didn't know what the purple Qi Dharma spirit was, but seeing that Celestial Emperor Tian Ong valued it so much and that Su Fang was in such a difficult position, it was obviously very important to Su Fang. She would rather be killed by Celestial Emperor Tian Ong than let Su Fang make such a big sacrifice. Xian Yintian shouted angrily, Su Fang, make a decision. What's there to hesitate about? Even if you hand over the Dharma treasure, Long Tian Ong won't let us go easily. Leave here and remember to avenge me and Xuanxin. Shut up. Su Fang suddenly spoke out, and his eyes revealed a strand of determination. It's just a Dharma treasure. How can it compare to my cultivation partner? There are countless Dharma treasures in the great world. If I lose them, I can take them back with my own strength. Xuanxin is unique to me. If I lose her, I can't get her back. I'll make my own decision. A cold shout shocked Xian Yintian so much that he couldn't speak. Fairy Xuanxin was extremely shocked, and tears flowed out of her eyes. Law sighed in the blood jade in his body, but no more words of persuasion. Su Fang raised his right arm and pointed out a few Xian Guang on his right arm. Suddenly, a purple Qi spiritual vein flew out from his right arm like a purple galaxy, exuding a vast and mysterious aura. Huang Lingyao, you've done me a great service again this time. As expected, there's a part of the purple Qi law spirit in your body. Good, good, good. Looking at the purple cloud Dharma spirit in Su Fang's hand, Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's eyes shone with a strange light as he laughed loudly. Streams of blood Qi Xian Guang fused into his spirit veins. This was the fusion of Su Fang and the purple cloud Dharma spirit. It had long become a part of him, just like his flesh and blood. At this moment it was forced out of his body. It was as if a part of his flesh and blood had been separated. Blood flowed out of Su Fang's ears and nose. His eyes turned red, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. The purple cloud Dharma spirit buzzed and trembled in the blood-red Xian Guang, not wanting to leave Su Fang's body. Seeing Su Fang in such pain, Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin realized that the purple cloud Dharma spirit was far more important to Su Fang than they had imagined. They were shocked and wanted to die immediately. They didn't want Su Fang to make such a huge sacrifice. Inside Su Fang's body, the Green Feather Emperor and other powerful big goblin experts in the cauldron transformation world were shocked and angry. They wanted to rush out and fight Immortal Emperor Tian Ong, let them go, and the purple cloud Dharma spirit is yours. Su Fang's voice was hoarse and his body was trembling. However, he stood proudly. Although his body wasn't very tall, it was as if he could hold up the world. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was overjoyed. Just as he was about to agree, the dark green demon emperor suddenly said, "This person has a peerless magic treasure that can release the power of thunder punishment. Why don't you take it away?" The dark green demon emperor hated Su Fang to the core. He was also extremely afraid of the thunder punishment cauldron. He would rather have the thunder punishment cauldron fall into the hands of Immortal Emperor Tian Ong than to keep it with Su Fang. Therefore, he took the opportunity to add insult to injury. Dark green demon emperor. Su Fang's blood-red eyes exuded a cold, murderous intent. The dark green demon emperor said proudly, "Without the thunder punishment cauldron, what can you do to me?" Immortal Emperor Tian Ong nodded and said, "Yes, I heard that this cauldron can absorb the thunder punishment. It can also restrain Huang Lingyao's Yunshao thunder sword. Give it to me." An old man from the great Qian immortal world said, "This person also has a peerless Taoist artifact. Its aura is even stronger than the immortal slaying bow, one of the 10 great Taoist artifacts. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's eyes suddenly shone brightly. Yes, yes, a purple Qi Dharma spirit. Su Fang, give me 2 peerless Taoist artifacts in exchange for Xian Yin Tian and Xuanxin Fairy. I can give you the purple Qi Dharma spirit. I can also give you the Thunder Punishment Cauldron. As for the Underworld Samsara Sword, if this Taoist artifact is taken away, it will be a great loss to my vitality. It is impossible for me to hand over the Underworld Samsara Sword. I can give you another Taoist artifact instead. This Taoist artifact is exactly what you have been dreaming of. A huge seal appeared in front of Su Fang. It was the Demon Sealing Royal Heavenly Seal. Demon Sealing Royal Heavenly Seal. Su Fang, you are really full of treasures. You surprise me. Demon Sealing Royal Heavenly Seal, ha ha. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang was first surprised and shocked. Then, he was pleasantly surprised and burst into laughter. With the Demon Sealing Royal Heavenly Seal, obtaining Tsang Huan Immortal Emperor's body was a sure thing. How could Immortal Emperor Tian Ang not be wild with joy? The blood mist exploded. The Demon Sealing Royal Heavenly Seal was stripped from Su Fang's blood essence. Then, it was the Thunder Punishment Cauldron. Su Fang uncontrollably spat out a mouthful of blood. The continuous stripping of fused Taoist artifacts, and they were all very powerful Taoist artifacts, caused him serious injuries. This was why he was unwilling to hand over the Underworld Samsara Sword. The Thunder Punishment Cauldron was a damaged cauldron. The Demon Sealing Royal Heavenly Seal was only a peak Supreme Grade Taoist artifact. It could withstand the loss and pain caused by stripping Taoist artifact. Su Fang cultivated the Underworld Blood Sea. The Underworld Samsara Sword had long been inseparable from his body. Once it was forcefully stripped, Su Fang's body would be seriously injured. Purple Qi Dharma Spirit. Su Fang looked at the purple cloud Dharma Spirit. His gaze became gentle, as if he was looking at his own child. The purple cloud Dharma Spirit also trembled in the blood Xian Guang. It seemed to be begging Su Fang not to leave Su Fang. Of course, Su Fang was not stupid enough to take out all of the purple cloud Dharma Spirit. At this time, there was still a part of the purple cloud Dharma Spirit sealed in his body. At this time, it was also trembling. Su Fang, don't. You are really stupid. How can you be so stupid? Fairy Xuanxin spat out a mouthful of blood. She looked at Su Fang with eyes full of despair and pleading. Purple cloud Dharma Spirit, leave me for a while. Later, I will let you return to my body. Su Fang revealed a resolute expression. Purring. The purple cloud Dharma Spirit was stripped from the blood Xian Guang. Su Fang couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. It looked extremely terrifying. The powerhouses from the 8 forces were all moved and shocked. Some people were incomparably impressed by Su Fang's actions. Some people ridiculed Su Fang, thinking that he was no different from an idiot to do such a crazy thing for a woman. His eyes suddenly burst with a cold light. Su Fang coldly shouted, Tian Ang, release them immediately. Very well. Put away the gorilla demon first. With it here, this emperor is a little worried. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang was obviously very afraid of the gorilla demon, who had the strength of an immortal emperor. Su Fang put the gorilla demon into the crucible transformation world. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's eyes flashed with a cold, murderous intent. He waved his sleeve and set off a stream of air. It wrapped Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin and slowly flew towards Su Fang. Su Fang also shot out a Xian Guang, pushing the purple cloud Dharma Spirit, the Thunder Punishment Cauldron, and the Demon Sealing Emperor's Heavenly Seal to fly towards Immortal Emperor Tian Ang. Su Fang flew out to meet Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin. Xian Yintian angrily said, Stupid, really stupid to the extreme. Who knew that Su Fang didn't give him a chance to speak at all? He directly put him and Fairy Xuanxin into the crucible transformation world. At the same time, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong waved his hand and shot out a golden Xian Guang. It wrapped the three peerless magic weapons and flew towards him. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong suddenly shot out a shocking and peerless handprint. An amazing burst of divine power shrouded Su Fang. In the name of the Supreme Divine Dragon, in the will of the Divine Dragon, I, Long Tian Ong, deprive Su Fang of his cultivation. Looking at Su Fang indifferently, Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's voice was full of mysterious aura. Chi, 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 chi. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's voice was like the sound of the heavenly Tao. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Fang's genuine chi kept leaking out, and his cultivation realm dropped rapidly. The curse of the Divine Dragon. After all, Piaoxue Zhenren was from the Immortal Moon Palace. She was very knowledgeable. She immediately recognized the magical power that Immortal Emperor Tian Ong had used. It was the legendary magical power that only the Divine Dragon possessed. The Dark Jade Demon Emperor and the dozen or so resurrected ancient demons also showed fear in their eyes. They were trembling all over. They clearly remembered this terrifying magical power that was famous during the Great War of the Immortals and Demons. It had killed countless experts of the demon clan. In the name of the Divine Dragon, I, Long Tian Ong, deprive Su Fang of his physical body. Puff, Su Fang's body broke, and blood and chi burst out. Then, his physical body became dispirited and withered at a speed visible to the naked eye. I deprive you of your destiny. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's cold voice sounded again. A supreme divine power that contained the will of the heavenly Tao seeped into Su Fang's body and was about to deprive him of his destiny. If I want to live, the heavens can't deprive me. My destiny is mine to decide, not the heavens and not a worm. Su Fang suddenly made clanging sounds, and his body burned with the aura of destiny. Heavenly Secret Life Shrinking Technique. Chi. As soon as Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's divine power touched Su Fang's body, it was burned into nothingness by the terrifying power of destiny. In the next second, Su Fang's aura suddenly disappeared without a trace. If one could not see him with the naked eye, one would not be able to detect his existence at all. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's divine power had lost its target, and could not pose any threat to Su Fang. Su Fang's cultivation base and life essence, which were constantly draining away, suddenly stopped. Su Fang's eyes emitted an ethereal light that shrouded Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's surroundings, as well as the purple cloud Dharma spirit and the thunder punishment cauldron that were about to fall into Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's hands. Destiny is my creation, and I control the heavenly secret. If I want to live, the heavens can't deprive me. Destiny is my creation, and I control the heavenly secret. If I want to live, the heavens can't live without me. Destiny is my creation, and I control the heavenly secrets. If I am destroyed, everything will be destroyed. Heaven's Secret Life Shrinking Technique. Destiny is my creation, and I control the heavenly secret. If I want to live, the heavens can't live without me. If I want to live, the heavens can't live without me. In the small world, Su Fang had fused with the Nirvana force, and comprehended a new ability from the Heaven's Secret Life Shrinking Technique. This ability was not the ability to deceive Su Fang's own destiny, but to seize the things obtained by destiny and karma in one's own hands, and forcibly seize the destiny of others. It turned out that when Su Fang decided to hand over the purple cloud Dharma spirit, he already had a thorough plan. First, he would hand over the purple cloud Dharma spirit and the other two treasures, save Xian Yintian and Xuanxin, and then take back everything that he had handed over. Although he would lose an immeasurable amount of life essence, Su Fang had no scruples. Whoosh! Chapter 1290. In the Crucible Transformation World. Greetings, Mistress. Greetings, Lord Xian Yintian. The experts and Big Goblin all knelt down to Fairy Xuanxin and Xian Yintian. Xuanxin Fairy said sadly, "In order to save me, Su Fang has paid a heavy price this time. I don't deserve to be his partner, and I don't deserve to be your mistress." Xian Yintian also sighed. The Green Feather Emperor said with a smile, "Don't worry, I've been following Su Fong since I was a child. Even if he suffered a little loss, it won't take long for him to pay back 10 times. If he doesn't save me, then he's not the Su Fong I know. Don't blame yourself, just watch how this kid deals with Immortal Emperor Tian." Fairy Xuanxin and Xian Yintian didn't believe it and kept silent. On the 7th floor of the Demon Sealing Tower, Immortal Emperor Tian grabbed the Purple Cloud Dharma Spirit, the Thunder Punishment Cauldron, and the Demon Sealing Emperor's Heavenly Seal in his hand. With the cultivation of a supreme Immortal Emperor, Immortal Emperor Tian was ecstatic. However, in the next second, the Supreme Divine Dragon's curse lost its effect on Su Fong. Immortal Emperor Tian's eyes were filled with disbelief. How is this possible? The curse of the Divine Dragon was the supreme divine ability of the ancient Dragon clan. If Immortal Emperor Tian used all his strength to perform the curse of the Divine Dragon, he could easily kill an Immortal Emperor of the same level. At this time, Immortal Emperor Tian had taken over someone else's body and could only use the cultivation of the Immortal Realm. The power of the curse of the Divine Dragon was naturally not as strong as it was at its peak. Even so, Immortal Emperor Tian was very confident. Even the Palace Master of the Star Palace, who had just become an Immortal Emperor, would be severely injured by the curse of the Divine Dragon. How high was Su Fong's realm? The Feather Immortal Realm. A Feather Immortal Realm cultivator could get rid of the curse of the Divine Dragon and make the divine ability useless. The shock in Immortal Emperor Tian's heart could be imagined. However, Immortal Emperor Tian was even more shocked. Immediately after, it was as if an invisible hand had appeared out of nowhere, enveloping Celestial Emperor Tian and the space around him. Then, it grabbed Celestial Emperor Tian's body, soul, fate, and everything related to him, and the space around him. Puff! Immortal Emperor Tian coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his body became weak. The Purple Cloud Dharma Spirit, the Thunder Punishment Cauldron, and the Demon Sealing Imperial Heavenly Seal also flew out of his palms. It was as if these 2 items did not belong to him at all. At the same time, the blood ribbon that the ghoul had turned into wrapped around the Purple Cloud Dharma Spirit and the Cauldron of Thunder Punishment. With a whoosh, it returned to Su Fong's palm and was absorbed into his body. The Demon Sealing Royal Heavenly Seal was still in front of Immortal Emperor Tian. No one can take away what belongs to Su Fong. Immortal Emperor Tian, I, Su Fong, will remember what you did to me today. One day, I will sweep across the Heavenly Tao Immortal World and kill everyone in the Long family. Su Fong's cold and domineering voice was heard. His hair was already white, and his face had turned into that of a man in his 40s or 50s. Just now, he had used the life-shrinking technique to the extreme, which had consumed more than half of his life force. However, there was a supreme domineering aura exuding from his body. This domineering aura was not the aura of a conqueror, or the aura of a conqueror. Instead, it was the kind of peerless spirit that the heavens could not stop him from leaving. Puff! The treasures that he had just obtained were inexplicably snatched away by Su Fong. Immortal Emperor Tian was not willing to accept this. After hearing Su Fong's words, a surge of qi and blood surged in his chest, and he coughed out another mouthful of blood. The experts from the 8 forces, as well as the Dark Jade Demon Emperor and the resurrected Ancient Devil, felt their minds buzzing. They could not believe their eyes. What kind of peerless divine power was this? How many more shocking moves did Su Fong have? Powerful. Unfathomable. The Dark Jade Demon Emperor's eyes were filled with fear, and the Immortal Emperor expert from the Great Qian Immortal World felt a chill run down his spine. Adding insult to injury just now was tantamount to creating a deadly feud with Su Fong, bringing about a great disaster to himself. When Su Fong truly matured, The Dark Jade Demon Emperor and the experts from the Great Qian immortal world could not help but tremble, not daring to continue thinking about it. Through Su Fang's special divine power, Fairy Xuanxin and Xian Yintian saw the scene outside and immediately fell into an intense shock. Su Fang was far more powerful and scheming than they had imagined. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong reached out to grab the demon sealing emperor's heavenly seal, and felt a trace of comfort in his heart. The next moment, whoosh! Su Fang controlled the feather fan and flew from the sky to the place where Tsanghuan Immortal Sovereign was sealed. It turned out that he wanted to use the protective force around Tsanghuan Immortal Sovereign to create chaos and then take the opportunity to escape. The stone golems, corpse puppets, and the statue-like metal monster on the ground did not move at all, directly ignoring Su Fang's existence. How is this possible? Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was dumbfounded. The others also had an incredulous look on their faces as they repeatedly exclaimed that it was impossible. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's murderous aura exploded. Whoever killed Su Fang, I'll give him freedom. Boom! Su Fang obviously used a forbidden technique and consumed a lot of his life force. If he did not act now, when would he? The experts from all directions and the devil race all unleashed their qi, striking out one after another amazing magical treasures, converging into a terrifying torrent that swept towards Su Fang. The stone golems below were swallowed by the torrent and shattered one after another. Such a terrifying attack could instantly kill a peak immortal emperor, and even an immortal emperor expert would have to avoid it. Su Fang was about to be swept up by Su Fang. Su Fang suddenly struck out a green bead. It was emerald green and had a dark aura. This bead was an ancient unique treasure. It was a supreme-grade Dao tool that he obtained from killing Bai Tsubing. The green bead had a very strange ability. It could release a surge of divine aura that could shackle the enemy's magical treasures and divine abilities, reducing their speed by more than half. Su Fang did not lack supreme-grade Dao tools, but the ability of this bead was very strange. Moreover, Luo Xian concluded that this bead was the key to a spatial Dao tool. Therefore, after killing Bai Tsubing and obtaining this bead, Su Fang kept on fusing and refining it. At this moment, he was already able to activate most of the bead's power. Facing the surging wave of attacks, the bead finally had a place to be used. Su Fang activated the bead in his hand without hesitation, releasing a strange, shackling force that formed a divine aura domain of more than 500 feet. Boom! 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 The qi and magical treasures of the 8 forces and the experts of the devil race clashed with the divine aura domain. It was like a mountain flood crashing into the sea, setting off a storm. The divine aura released by the bead was shattered all the way, but the terrifying attacks were weakened. Taking advantage of this time to catch his breath, Su Fang recalled the bead and suddenly accelerated, wanting to leave the range of the attacks. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. Su Fang did not activate the bead, but the bead suddenly exploded with a dazzling green Xian Guang. The Xian Guang twisted, causing the surrounding space to undulate and tremble, as if a space-time wave had appeared out of nowhere. The attacks surging toward Su Fang were shattered and turned into nothingness. What the hell, why is this happening? Su Fang's body was firmly locked in place by the power of spatial distortion, unable to move for a moment. He repeatedly activated the bead, but who knew that there would be no response? Su Fang could not help but be shocked. After all his calculations, just as his plan was about to succeed, such a strange thing suddenly occurred, causing Su Fang to be extremely shocked. Just as he was about to use his strength to escape this domain, Luo's somewhat agitated voice suddenly came from the blood jade in his body. "Don't move! Luo, just what is going on? Have you forgotten what I once told you? Think carefully, what is the true use of this bead?" "Ki? Luo, you mean this bead is the Dao artifact space where the demon sealing tower is located." At this moment, the spatial vortex formed by the green light blooming from the bead suddenly exploded, and a majestic suction force was about to suck the bead in. Su Fang used all his strength to grab the bead. Just as he finished doing this, Su Fang and the bead were sucked into the spatial vortex. Seeing this scene, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was dumbfounded. The others were also shocked, and their faces were full of disbelief. He actually escaped? Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was very depressed. Strange, why didn't Su Fang take back the Demon Sealing Emperor Heavenly Seal? Could it be because he consumed too much energy and was unable to take it back? Immortal Emperor Tian Ong revealed a trace of doubt, and then threw it to the back of his mind. In any case, with the Demon Sealing Emperor Heavenly Seal in hand and the supreme body of Immortal Tsang Huan, this trip was not in vain. Destroy all the obstacles in the periphery and get Immortal Emperor Tsang Huan's body. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong issued a strict order, while he himself retreated to the back, fusing with the Demon Sealing Emperor Heavenly Seal while recovering from his injuries. Huff, a sense of weightlessness, heaven and earth turned upside down, as if passing through the endless void. Finally, Su Fang fell into a hazy world. This was obviously the internal space of a Tao artifact. A large number of arrays, immortal arrays, handprints, immortal patterns, and immortal marks interweaved into a huge world, and it was mainly spatial arrays. Seeing the bead still in his hand, Su Fang breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Luo, you just said that this bead is the key to the spatial Tao artifact I'm in now? This bead is the key to open and control the spatial Tao artifact. You've also activated the bead before, and there has never been any abnormalities, but now it has caused spatial fluctuations. Things are most likely as I speculated. If I'm not wrong, this should be the central area to control the spatial Tao artifact. There's actually such a coincidence? Compared to the vast immortal domain, the God Burial Enclosure was not far from the Huangze astral boundary. This spatial Tao artifact had been destroyed, and the key to the Tao artifact had drifted to the Huangze astral boundary. The bead was obtained by Baitsubing, and in the end, it fell into Su Fang's hands. And when Su Fang came to the Tao artifact space, he inadvertently caused changes in the Tao artifact space. Such a tortuous experience was indeed a coincidence. Coincidence? That may not be so. Don't forget that you have the purple Chi Dharma spirit, which can bring you supreme luck. There will naturally be a force in the unseen world that will help you obtain supreme treasures. This is all thanks to the purple Chi Dharma spirit, and not a coincidence. Purple Chi Dharma spirit. Su Fang touched his arm. The purple Chi Dharma spirit had been forcefully separated from his body. Although Su Fang had taken it back from Immortal Emperor Tian Ong, he still needed to fuse with it again. In addition, he was injured by Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's supreme Abhijna, and he had used the Heaven's secret life shrinking technique to the extreme. The life force he had used was equivalent to losing half his life. The price he had paid this time could be said to be disastrous. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong, it won't be long before I make you pay 10 times the price. I will also destroy your heavenly Tao immortal domain, and exterminate your people. Su Fang's face was full of murderous intent. You'd better think of a way quickly. See if you can use this bead to find a way to control the spatial Tao artifact. Control this spatial Tao artifact. Su Fang's eyes suddenly shone with a terrifying light. The inner space of a spatial Dharma artifact was an independent world, equivalent to a mobile immortal domain. When Luo had mentioned the spatial Tao artifact before, Su Fang had only thought about it. A spatial Tao artifact. Chapter 1291. Huff. Su Fang exhaled a long breath and forced his heart to calm down. Heal my injuries first, and then try to control the space Tao artifact. Throwing away all kinds of distracting thoughts, Su Fang was ready to enter the crucible transformation realm to heal his injuries. Who knew that at this moment, a 5-colored light suddenly shot out from the side of the array formation. It appeared at an incredible speed and wrapped around the bead in Su Fang's hand. Second essence spirit, go! Su Fangda was shocked, and black Xian Guang burst out from his eyes and hit the light. A scream came out from the light, and it flew away from the bead with a whoosh, once again drilling into the array formation and disappearing. What is this? Artifact spirit, the artifact spirit of a space Dao artifact. Su Fang was surprised and happy. He did not expect that the artifact spirit of this space Dao artifact still existed. Law reminded him from the blood jade in his body, you have to be careful. This artifact spirit wants to take away the key to control the space Dao artifact. It obviously has a strong independent consciousness. Moreover, the changes you caused in the bead in the Devil Sealing Tower are most likely caused by the artifact spirit. What a powerful space Dao artifact! Even the artifact spirit is so powerful. Su Fang praised. As long as the artifact spirit is subdued, it will be relatively easy to control this space Dao artifact. The bad thing is that this artifact spirit with a strong independent consciousness is very difficult to subdue. Don't fail miserably. If you don't get the space Dao artifact and get controlled by the artifact spirit, it will be very difficult for you to leave this place. Law, you probably forgot that I have a second essence spirit. How could I forget this? The artifact spirit is also a body of consciousness. The second essence spirit has an incomparably powerful essence spirit, and can shuttle through the void and array formations. It can firmly restrain the artifact spirit. Buzz, Su Fang slightly urged the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique and sensed that the artifact spirit was hiding in an array formation in the Dao artifact space. It was staring at Su Fang, or rather at the bead in Su Fang's hand. What a special artifact spirit! Su Fang was surprised. Second essence spirit, go, subdue the artifact spirit. Whoosh! The second primordial spirit was like a black bolt of lightning, instantly traversing through the array formation and finding the hiding place of the artifact spirit. After 4 or 5 breaths, the primordial spirit's second primordial spirit arrived in front of Su Fang with a ball of multicolored light. There were primordial spirit chains on the multicolored light, making it difficult for the weapon spirit to break free. It couldn't be helped. Although the weapon spirit had a strong consciousness, it was not the primordial spirit of a supreme master. It was easy for the second primordial spirit to subdue it. Artifact spirit, let me ask you, what is the name of this spatial Dao artifact? Why is it in the giant battle canyon, and why does it seem to be severely damaged? A cold and arrogant voice came from within the multicolored light. This weapon spirit was actually like a human, possessing a certain degree of humanity. A mere artifact spirit dares to put on airs in front of me? Second primordial spirit, let it suffer a little. Su Fang said coldly. Yes. The primordial spirit chains that bound the multicolored light suddenly shrunk. The edges of the multicolored light were crushed by the astonishing primordial spirit power. The weapon spirit was no longer so arrogant and hurriedly said, I'll speak. Only then did the second primordial spirit stop controlling the primordial spirit chains and release its primordial spirit divine might, forming a huge deterrent force that enveloped the weapon spirit. Su Fang said coldly, answer my question. The weapon spirit said, this spatial Dao artifact is called the True Dragon Realm. It was later obtained by immortal sovereign Tsang Huan, so it was renamed the Tsang Huan True Dragon Realm. I am the weapon spirit. My previous master, immortal sovereign Tsang Huan, called me True Dragon. Su Fang already knew that immortal sovereign Tsang Huan was the supreme master of the immortal Dao sealed in the Demon Sealing Tower. Tsang Huan True Dragon Realm? How precious is a spatial Dao artifact! Even an expert like immortal sovereign Tsang Huan is extremely precious. How did it end up in the giant battle canyon? It's a long story, the weapon spirit True Dragon slowly explained. It turned out that during the Great War of Immortals and Demons, immortal sovereign Tsang Huan and demon sovereign Ancient Ming were the two supreme leaders of the immortal and demon sovereign sides respectively. When Immortal Sovereign Song Huan and Demon Sovereign Ancient Ming fought, Immortal Sovereign Song Huan chopped off one of Demon Sovereign Ancient Ming's palms and used it as bait to set up a trap to lure and kill Demon Sovereign experts. Immortal Sovereign Song Huan didn't expect that when he severely injured Demon Sovereign Ancient Ming, he was careless and allowed the cunning Demon Sovereign Ancient Ming to enter his body with a supreme Demon Sovereign ability. Demon Sovereign Ancient Ming then secretly used a planting technique to devour and seize Immortal Sovereign Song Huan's body. When Immortal Sovereign Song Huan appeared, it was already too late. Left with no choice, Immortal Sovereign Song Huan used the Demon Sealing Emperor's heavenly seal to seal himself and Demon Sovereign Ancient Ming in the Demon Sealing Tower. He placed them in the Song Huan True Dragon Realm for his clansmen to bring back to the clan and then find a way to suppress Demon Sovereign Ancient Ming, who knew that when his clansmen left with the Song Huan True Dragon Realm, they would be attacked by Demon Sovereigns. The Immortal and Demon Sovereigns fought a decisive battle, forming the giant battle canyon. In the great battle, Immortal Sovereign Song Huan's clansmen perished. The Song Huan True Dragon Realm was also heavily damaged and fell into the chaotic space. The location of the important component used to control the True Dragon Realm, which was the pearl in Su Fang's hand, was unknown. As time passed, the Song Huan True Dragon Realm was continuously eroded by the spatial energy in the giant battle canyon, causing a part of the Tao artifact's space to collapse. The territory within the space was intertwined with the void outside, and the energy and laws in the space were chaotic. In another tens of thousands of years, it would completely collapse. Unexpectedly, the world changed, the fourth sun rose, and the sealed Immortal Sovereign Song Huan and Demon Sovereign Ancient Ming woke up at the same time, attracting the 8 forces into the spatial Tao artifact. It was even more unexpected that Su Fang still had the key to control the spatial Tao artifact. When he activated the pearl, the artifact's spirit borrowed the pearl's power to activate a bit of the spatial Tao artifact's power, bringing the pearl to the core of the spatial Tao artifact. Su Fang was also swept here. Although the artifact's spirit spoke simply, Su Fang was shaken to the core. He imagined the tragic scene of the great immortal demon war in his mind, and felt a burst of fear and fascination at the same time. Law spoke from the blood jade in his body. This is just a side battlefield during the great immortal demon war. The degree of devastation is not even 1/10 of the main battlefield. When you have the chance to enter the main battlefield, you will know that the battle on the god-burying enclosure is nothing. I will definitely go to the ancient immortal demon battlefield. Su Fang nodded in response. Looking at the artifact spirit, Su Fang spoke in a majestic voice. Zhenlong, are you willing to recognize me as your master? The multicolored light fell silent. Su Fang's voice suddenly became cold. What, you are not willing to recognize me as your master? The artifact spirit spoke. How powerful is my master, Immortal Sovereign Song Huan? In front of Immortal Sovereign Song Huan, you are even less than an ant. Even if I submit to you, how can you control a supreme Tao artifact like the Song Huan True Dragon Realm? What the artifact spirit said was true. Song Huan Immortal Venerable was extremely powerful back then, surpassing Immortal Emperor Realm expert. Moreover, Su Fang had also seen how terrifying this person was on the 7th level of the Demon Sealing Tower. Just a gaze from him could kill an immortal at the Feather Immortal Realm. Compared to such a supreme powerhouse, Su Fang was indeed less than an ant. The grade of the Song Huan realm was about the same as the 10 great Tao treasures. However, it was already a little damaged at this point. Although its grade was not as high as the 10 great Tao treasures, it was still a peerless Tao treasure that surpassed the peak of supreme grade. Furthermore, it was a spatial Tao treasure. Its value was no less than the 10 great Tao treasures. To Su Fang, it was almost as important as the Xianming Thunder Archive. According to common sense, even an immortal emperor powerhouse could not activate the full power of such a supreme Tao artifact. Su Fang, a mere feather immortal, could not even touch the door of the Zhonghuan True Dragon realm. However, Su Fang was not an ordinary cultivator, and could not be judged by common sense. He had the purple cloud Dharma spirit. The only troublesome thing was that the True Dragon realm was immortal sovereign Zhonghuan's Dharma treasure. It had long been integrated by him, and was not an ownerless Dharma treasure. Although immortal sovereign Zhonghuan was sealed, he was still alive and well. It was almost impossible for outsiders to integrate with it. However, Su Fang was an exception. He had the Origin's sacred mirror. When the time came, he could directly activate the mirror and release the 9-yang true fire to forcibly refine the blood essence that immortal sovereign Zhonghuan had integrated into the Dharma treasure array formation. For Su Fang, it was not a difficult task. The Zhonghuan True Dragon realm will sooner or later be mine, Su Fang. Su Fang was very excited that a spatial Dharma treasure was about to be in his hands. Although he was seriously injured this time, it was a blessing in disguise. Su Fang had a way to quickly recover the life force he lost. A spatial Dharma treasure was a peerless treasure that was difficult to find in the entire immortal realm. Whoosh! The heavenly demon blood plate appeared above the multicolored light and released an astonishing primordial spirit power to absorb the multicolored light into the Dharma treasure space. At this time, the most important thing was to quickly recover from his injuries and reintegrate with the purple chi Dharma spirit and the thunder punishment cauldron. Then, with the help of the purple chi Dharma spirit, he could make the True Dragon realm treasure spirit recognize him as its master. In order to prevent the treasure spirit from causing trouble, Su Fang had to absorb it into the heavenly demon blood plate. He entered the crucible transformation space. Whoosh! His body shattered and turned into a pool of blood with an area of nearly 200 feet. Due to activating the life shrinking technique, Su Fang lost more than half of his life force. Not only did the pool of blood shrink, it also did not burn the life force like before. The yin-yang immortal sky pellets were refined into spiritual liquid by the cauldron transformation force and fell into the blood water. It was as if a spiritual rain was falling. Ripples appeared on the blood water, igniting the flames of life. Then, he took out a drop of immortal sovereign Zhonghuan's blood essence. After many uses, the blood essence had shrunk by more than half. Without hesitation, he used his consciousness to urge the blood essence to fall directly into the pool of blood. Boom! Immortal sovereign Zhonghuan was a supreme powerhouse of immortal Emperor Yu. How amazing was the life force essence contained in his blood essence. After being swallowed by the pool of blood, it quickly turned into a part of the pool of blood and ignited the monstrous life force flame, causing the originally lifeless pool of blood to boil and burn again. At this time, the pool of blood slowly flowed and formed a huge vortex, frantically fusing with immortal sovereign Zhonghuan's blood essence to replenish the consumed life force. He peeled off a yang immortal and came to the other side of the crucible transformation force. Su Fang. Seeing the appearance of Su Fang's yang immortal, Fairy Xuanxin suddenly lost her usual calmness and modesty. She let out a cry full of surprise, and then tears fell like rain. Su Fang, Xian Yintian suddenly said with a majestic voice. Something seemed wrong with his voice. Then, with a smack, Su Fang's head was slapped. "You little brat, how dare you not listen to this old man's words and reprimand me? You really deserve a beating." Xian Yintian seemed to be angry, but his eyes were full of smiles and a trace of gratitude. After asking Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin why they fell into the hands of immortal Emperor Tianong, Su Fang suddenly exploded with murderous intent. "The clear sky's myriad scroll door will be the first force I will destroy in this immortal realm." Fairy Xuanxin and Xian Yintian were both sad. They were both from the clear sky's myriad scroll door and had deep feelings for the sect. However, they ended up being betrayed by the sect. They were angry and a little sad. Xian Yintian was like a furious lion. An immortal Emperor Tianong. Grandpa Xuanxin, you can stay in my Dao artifact space to cultivate and recover. I will slowly help you remove the shackles on your bodies. After a while, I will let you see how immortal Emperor Tian's avatar turns into dust. Su Fang smiled faintly, his eyes exuding coldness. Chapter 1292. So, Su Fang used the life-shrinking technique to forcefully take back the purple cloud Dharma spirit and the thunder punishment cauldron, but only left the demon sealing emperor heavenly seal behind. It wasn't because he didn't have enough power, but because he wanted to scheme against immortal Emperor Tian. Immortal Emperor Songhuan's body was extremely powerful, and there was a supreme demon emperor ancient netherworld in his body. As long as immortal Emperor Tian undid the seal, what awaited him would be death. How can my things be taken so easily? This time, I want immortal Emperor Tian to lose a layer of skin even if he doesn't die. In terms of despicability, I'm still far from being as despicable as immortal Emperor Tian. I still need to work harder. Su Fang secretly replied. Law sighed in the blood jade. Su Fang, not only did your cultivation improve at an astonishing speed, even your temperament has changed to the point that even I am amazed. Su Fang continued. Previously, I schemed against immortal Emperor Tian because I wanted to take the opportunity to escape from the demon sealing tower. Now, I don't need to escape at all. As long as I control the Songhuan True Dragon World, not only immortal Emperor Tian, no one can escape from my palm. On the 7th floor of the demon sealing tower, there were tens of thousands of stone men, corpse puppets, and metal monsters around immortal Emperor Songhuan's body. With immortal Emperor Tian's strength and the experts from various forces, it would take a lot of time to clear them all. Moreover, immortal Emperor Tian had fused with the demon sealing emperor heavenly seal and needed a long time to activate the power of the Dao artifact. Therefore, Su Fang wasn't in a hurry at all. When immortal Emperor Tian cleared all the obstacles, even if he wasn't killed by immortal Emperor Songhuan and obtained his body, as long as Su Fang refined the Songhuan True Dragon World, immortal Emperor Tian wouldn't be able to escape from the Dao artifact space. Putting aside the matter of immortal Emperor Tian for the time being, Su Fang carefully examined the shackles that immortal Emperor Tian left on Xuanxin and Xian Tian. Undoing the seals on their bodies was simple, but the shackles in the divine aperture ocean were a bit troublesome. The slightest carelessness could harm the primordial spirit. Even if an immortal emperor powerhouse made a move, he couldn't guarantee that there wouldn't be any mistake. It was immortal Emperor Tian's primordial ocean divine Emperor Tian. However, for Su Fang it was just a little troublesome. Other than hiding the aura of fate, the heavenly secret life shrinking technique also had the ability to break primordial soul-type restrictive spells. It wasn't too difficult to help Fairy Xuanxin and Xian Tian break the shackles of their primordial spirits. However, he had to wait until he completely recovered. He did not dare to make things worse for his current situation. Su Fang separated himself from a young immortal and accompanied Fairy Xuanxin in the crucible transformation array formation. His true body turned into a pool of blood and devoured a drop of Songhuan Immortal Venerable's blood essence to recover his life force. At the same time, he also took out a large number of medicinal pills and refined them into spiritual liquid, which he continuously injected into the blood to replenish the life force he had consumed. Whoosh, whoosh. After receiving abundant life essence, the blood water once again displayed astonishing life force. It burned with the flame of life, and turned into a blood vortex that spun slowly. At the bottom of the whirlpool, the blood water surged and churned, condensing into a giant blood man that was 30 meters tall. Purple Chi Dharma Spirit, come! With a thought, a purple Chi spirit vein like a galaxy appeared above the blood water and was swallowed by the blood man. It began to sizzle and fuse with Su Fang again. It was relatively easier to forcibly separate a part of the purple Chi Dharma spirit from the body and fuse it again, but it would definitely cause considerable damage. While fusing with the purple Qi Dharma spirit, Su Fang's hatred for immortal Emperor Tian Ong in his heart became even stronger. At the same time, he fused with the Thunder Punishment Cauldron again. Time flew. Unknowingly, 3 years had passed. Song Huan Immortal Venerable's blood essence was finally completely devoured and fused with the blood water. After forming a seal, the yellow spring blood sea instantly turned into a human body. At this time, Su Fang's head and face had basically returned to normal, which was a little gray at the tip. His appearance was that of a 20-year-old. The life force he had lost using the heavenly secret life shrinking technique had recovered by more than 90%. Let's go see Xuanqin. Su Fang was excited. He passed through the crucible transformation space and immediately appeared beside Fairy Xuanqin. You've recovered? Fairy Xuanqin's flawless face revealed incomparable joy. Then, like a bird, she threw herself into Su Fang's arms and was unwilling to come out. Feeling the familiar aura of the warm and soft body, Su Fang was intoxicated and hugged Fairy Xuanqin tightly. After a long time, Fairy Xuanqin said faintly, falling into the hands of immortal Emperor Tianong, I thought I would never see you again. It's all in the past. From now on, I won't let my woman suffer any more harm. Whatever immortal Emperor Tianong and the clear sky's myriad scroll door did to you, I will return it back tenfold. Su Fang's tone was filled with determination and incomparable confidence. You fool, you even gave up your life's source magic treasure for me. Don't you know that doing this will make me feel very uncomfortable? Silly woman, if it were you, you would do the same, wouldn't you? Su Fang rubbed Fairy Xuanqin's chest. The fusion of yin and yang made the two of them telepathically connected. There was no need for words to understand each other's thoughts. Then, he revealed a domineering aura. Don't underestimate your man. A mere clone of an immortal emperor is nothing in my eyes. Even if immortal Emperor Tian Ang's true body came, I am confident that I can seriously injure or even kill him. But I would have to pay a high price, so I didn't take it out. Fairy Xuanqin was shocked. Suddenly, Su Fang smiled evilly and said, It's not like you don't know how powerful I am. What's so strange about it? What? Fairy Xuanqin immediately understood what Su Fang meant. Suddenly, her face flushed red. Her shy appearance was indescribably beautiful. Su Fang's heart pounded as he watched. A pure yang fire suddenly exploded in his body. Xuanqin. Xuanqin relaxed. It's time to get down to business. You bad guy. I said to help you break the shackles of your primordial spirit. What did you think I was going to do? Fairy Xuanqin knew that she was teased by Su Fang again. She was embarrassed and angry, and looked even more stunning. This caused Su Fang to burst out laughing. As a result, Xian Xian Fairy bit him in the chest, causing him to grimace in pain. Fairy Xuanqin opened her divine aperture ocean, allowing Su Fang's primordial spirit to easily enter her divine aperture. The Tao runes from the heavenly secret life shrinking technique burned and incinerated the imprints that immortal Emperor Tianong had placed on Fairy Xuanqin's primordial spirit. In less than 10 breaths of time, the primordial spirit shackles of an immortal emperor were easily broken by Su Fang. This is my man. Fairy Xuanqin was shocked. Her primordial spirit, which had been freed from the shackles, flew out and hugged Su Fang's primordial spirit happily. Not only in the divine aperture ocean, Su Fang and Fairy Xuanqin's bodies were also hugging. Just as he was about to take off his Tao robe, Su Fang suddenly woke up. Wait. Fairy Xuanqin asked in surprise, What's wrong? There's a despicable guy who likes to peep. It's better to be prepared. Ah. Law's angry voice came from the blood jade. Su Fang, you're the despicable one. You're the one who likes to peep. Su Fang slightly activated the heavenly secret life shrinking technique and covered the blood jade. Law's voice suddenly stopped. The mysterious woman in the Origin's sacred mirror. Su Fang shook his head. It was not easy to hide from the Origin sacred mirror. Moreover, the mysterious woman also cultivated the heavenly secret life shrinking technique. Her realm was definitely higher than Su Fang's. If she really wanted to peep, there was nothing he could do. The expert shouldn't be that bored, right? Su Fang comforted himself. He was depressed. Dual cultivation was so troublesome. Su Fang, I'm a little scared. Scared of what? I'm scared of you. You're like a divine beast. I'm scared. The delicate voice fell into Su Fang's ears, but it was like the most provocative heavenly voice. Su Fang's body once again exploded with pure yang true fire, rushing straight to his brain. He actually had a nosebleed again. Her beautiful body, which was as red as a peach blossom, and her body, which was full of masculine beauty, were entwined together, perfectly fusing with each other. The fusion of the soul and the physical body, the fusion of the two forces of extreme yin and extreme yang. After experiencing life and death, the two realized the importance of each other. This time, they were even more engrossed in the dual cultivation. They wantonly enjoyed the bliss of the world. They were crazy and passionate, forgetting the time, abandoning all distracting thoughts, and breaking the restrictions of the rules. Origin's sacred realm. A pair of misty eyes were projected from a certain formation space in the depth. This kid and the woman with the true body of the ice phoenix are having sex. This kid's yang qi will continue to transform, and the fusion with the Origin sacred realm will be one step closer. It will also bring amazing benefits to the woman. His luck is simply amazing. The date of my meeting with him is getting closer and closer. The mysterious woman's voice sounded faintly and then gradually disappeared. After a long time, Fairy Xuanxin put on a Taoist robe, covering her perfect body. Seeing Su Fang's unsatisfied expression, Fairy Xuanxin blushed and said, "Dual cultivation is not only about enjoying the pleasure of a man and a woman, but more importantly, it is about increasing one's cultivation. You and I will be together every day in the future. We will have plenty of time." "Xuanxin, you're right." Su Fang laughed and stood up. Who knew that at this moment, with a qi sound, a burst of tribulation fire shot out. It turned out that Su Fang was about to break through after devouring Tsang Huan's blood essence and a large amount of medicinal pills. At this moment, he was already at the 8th Tao realm of the Feather Immortal realm. If he broke through again, he would reach the 9th Tao realm, and he would be able to break through to the World Immortal realm. After saying a few words to Fairy Xuanxin, he quickly flew out of the Crucible Transformation realm. Su Fang sat cross-legged in the core of the True Dragon World's Tao artifact. There was no trace of heaven and earth spirit energy here. Fortunately, Su Fang did not lack spirit veins or elixirs. He immediately opened up a spirit vein and swallowed more than 100 supreme-grade immortal essence pills, which turned into true qi and rushed through his body. Qi. His body exploded with tribulation qi, forming a burning momentum. His skin began to burn first, and a large amount of impurities surged out of his body. In the midst of the tribulation fire, the surrounding space of more than 100 feet was burning with tribulation fire. A promotion force rushed through his body, and his body shook again and again, baptizing his body. 10 days later, the tribulation fire gradually weakened, and the aura emitted from Su Fang's body changed from 8 layers to 9 layers. He broke through another level and reached the 9th Tao realm of the Feather Immortal realm. His head and appearance were completely restored to their original state, and all the life that he had consumed before was made up for. Next, I should let the True Dragon artifact spirit recognize me as its master and merge with the Tsang Huan True Dragon world. After that, Immortal Emperor Tianong, the experts from the 8 forces, and those devil experts, all of you will be in my bag. Also, Immortal Sovereign Tsang Huan and Demon Sovereign Ancient Ming will all be mine. Su Fang's eyes flickered with a hale and hearty light. Whoosh! The heavenly demon blood plate appeared above, and the five-colored light shackled by the primordial spirit chains shot out from the Tao artifact space. A purple Xian Guang filled with a mysterious aura exploded from Su Fang's body. Not only his arms, but his entire upper body was filled with this mysterious aura. Immediately after Su Fang formed a seal, his body released surging yin-yang world true qi with a divine nature. The two auras made Su Fang's body emit a divine might, and it made all magic treasures obediently obey his orders. Chapter 1293. How can a heavenly immortal realm cultivator have divinity? And that aura makes me feel very comfortable. Master, I am willing to recognize you as my master. The aura of the yin-yang Tao wheel forced the artifact spirit to submit. The aura of the purple cloud Dharma spirit made it willingly recognize Su Fang as its master and obey Su Fang's orders. This was the benefit of Su Fang having the Godhead and the purple cloud Dharma spirit. It could transform into an unparalleled divine aura. Even a peerless Tao artifact like the Xianming Lightning Archive had to obey Su Fang's orders. Moreover, the Tsang-Huan True Dragon Realm's level was inferior to the Xianming Lightning Archive. Zhenlong, I am currently in the Tao artifact space of the Tsang-Huan True Dragon Realm. How do I fuse with this Tao artifact? Spatial artifacts were very peculiar. Su Fang did not know how to fuse with it. The artifact spirit answered honestly, the method of fusing with the True Dragon Realm is very simple. I will bring Master to the core of the Tao artifact and place the pearl in the core. Then, Master can fuse with it with your blood essence. However, the core of the Tao artifact has already been fused with by the Tsang-Huan Immortal. Although Master has unparalleled divine aura, you can't replace him to control the True Dragon Realm. You don't have to worry about this. Just bring me there. The artifact spirit of the True Dragon Realm shuttled through array after array and arrived at the so-called core of the Tao artifact. There was a 1-foot-long lotus-shaped object that emitted a colorful glow. It emitted an astonishing divine aura. The light distorted and fluctuated, releasing an astonishing divine aura. Master, this is the core of the True Dragon Realm. Su Fang struck out a hand seal, forming a shackle force that grabbed at the lotus. Unexpectedly, the lotus shook and released an astonishing spatial power, shattering Su Fang's shackle force. A spatial Tao artifact is indeed powerful. It knows how to resist without an artifact spirit and break free from my shackles. However, no matter how powerful you are, can you be more powerful than my origin sacred mirror? Su Fang grabbed the origin sacred mirror with his right hand and activated the mirror to shoot out a red light. It wrapped around the light of the lotus and burned it. The light instantly shattered. Divine artifact, that is actually a divine artifact. The lotus seed pod struggled incessantly, and even the artifact's spirit trembled uncontrollably as if doomsday had arrived. Only then did the artifact's spirit realize that its new master was not only much stronger than it had imagined, but he could also control a peerless divine artifact. Not to mention destroying the artifact's spirit, it would be easy for him to destroy the entire spatial Tao artifact. The primordial chaos sacred mirror released the 9-yang true fire, covering the lotus seed pod and burning it. Puff! The lotus seed pod bloomed and turned into a 5-colored lotus flower. Immortal patterns of magic treasures surged out from the petals. Su Fang didn't miss the opportunity to control a strand of divine might as he activated the 9-yang true fire to burn the immortal markings on the magic treasure, incinerating the blood qi that belonged to Tsang-Huan. Su Fang immediately sensed that this spatial Tao artifact had become an ownerless object. He could also sense that the entire Tao artifact was filled with reverence towards him. The bead flew out and landed in the center of the petals with a whoosh. The artifact's spirit also entered the lotus flower. Su Fang condensed a drop of blood, and it slowly entered the lotus. Not only did the lotus not reject it, it even impatiently absorbed Su Fang's blood like a sponge absorbing water. It seeped into the immortal patterns. The spatial Tao artifact, Song Huan's true dragon realm, had changed owners. This feeling. I feel like I'm the owner of this Tao artifact. Everything within the Tao artifact's space is controlled by me. After fusing with the lotus, Su Fang immediately clearly felt the changes in the space, and he couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. Look at my Tao artifact. Chi. The lotus seed pod bloomed with multicolored light again, and it was even more dazzling than before. Moreover, it distorted the space and changed into some strange, illusory scenes. With the help of the Tao artifact's divine might, Su Fang's sensing ability became incomparably shocking, and it extended to every corner of the Tao artifact's space. The Devil Ceiling Tower, the altar, and the vast territory within the Tao artifact's space, including the ice field, magma field, metal field, and other areas that he had once walked through, were all within the range of Su Fang's sensing ability. Moreover, he had a strong feeling that he was the supreme ruler of the Tao artifact's space. He was the heavens. With a thought, he could mobilize any power in the space, destroy all things, and even change the laws of the space. What a miraculous Tao artifact! Su Fang exclaimed. Even Law's voice came from the blood jade in his body. Not bad, a very good Tao artifact. Su Fang, you've really picked up a great treasure this time. Unfortunately, I can only sense the interior of the space now. If I want to truly control it, I still need to constantly comprehend and master the formations and hand seals inside the Tao artifact. The difficulty is probably no less than fusing with the dark Nether Lightning Archive. With such a supreme Tao artifact, even if it takes 10,000 years to fuse with it, it's still worth it. Of course. The true dragon realm is now mine. All the treasures inside belong to me, especially that ice marrow milk. Thinking that all the treasures in the Tao artifact's space would be at his disposal, Su Fang couldn't help but drool. It wasn't that he didn't have enough willpower, but the harvest this time was really too great. It even far surpassed the inheritance of the Yellow Spring Emperor. Let's take a look at the Demon Ceiling Pagoda first. He learned from the artifact's spirit that the Demon Ceiling Pagoda was also a part of the Tao artifact. It was specially used by the Song Huan Immortal to suppress and seal the experts of the Devil race. Su Fang became the new owner of the Song Huan True Dragon Realm, so he naturally could easily see everything inside. However, he couldn't control the power of the Tao artifact for the time being. The power of perception extended out from the center of the formation and quickly penetrated the Demon Ceiling Pagoda. Boom! Boom! On the 7th floor of the Devil Ceiling Pagoda, the experts from the 8 forces, along with the Devil experts, unleashed their auras and struck out with their Dharma treasures. They took turns to attack the stone golems, corpse refinement puppets, and metal monsters that surrounded the Song Huan Immortal. What a lively scene! Although the monsters outside the Song Huan Immortal were numerous and extremely powerful, they couldn't use their abilities after all. They also couldn't take the initiative to walk out of the restricted area. No matter how powerful they were, they became targets for the experts of the 8 forces and the Devil race. After more than 3 years of fierce battle, the monsters outside the Song Huan Immortal had been mostly exhausted. Only the last layer of defense was less than 1,000 monsters. The experts from the 8 forces had also suffered heavy losses. Originally, there were more than 500 experts who entered the Demon Ceiling Pagoda, and each of them was an expert. The weakest of them was at the level of the Great Elder. There were also nearly 50 Immortal Emperor experts. Including Drifting Snow Daoist, there were a total of 3 peak Immortal Emperor experts. Now there were only more than 100 experts left. Among the peak Immortal Emperor experts, only Drifting Snow Daoist was left. The Devil race had also suffered heavy losses. They had lost 7 resurrected ancient devils. The resurrected ancient devil at the peak Immortal Emperor realm had also suffered heavy injuries. However, the cunning Dark Jade Devil Emperor wasn't injured at all. On the contrary, because he had devoured the corpses of many fallen immortal Tao experts, his injuries had recovered quite a lot. Su Fang's heart ached when he saw this. These monsters now belonged to him, and these experts would become his slaves sooner or later. After merging with Song Huan's true dragon world, Su Fang's appetite had also grown. He wanted to take in all the experts under his command. With so many experts joining him, his overall strength would skyrocket to the point where he could compete with immortal emperor forces like Emperor Ning's mansion and Heavenly Tao Immortal World, or even sweep across them. Unfortunately, he was still far from being able to control the entire spatial Tao treasure. Now, he could only be a bystander. Hua hua hua. It turned out to be the Dark Jade Devil Emperor. Seeing that the obstacle was about to be cleared, he transformed into a terrifying blood python and swept towards Song Huan's body. Dark Jade Devil Emperor, how dare you not abide by the agreement between this emperor and you? Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's clone shouted coldly from behind. In the past few years, he had been merging with the Devil Sealing Emperor's heavenly seal. At the same time, he had also taken action personally, which resulted in severe injuries to his body. Now, he was recovering at the back. Dark Jade Devil Emperor was about to succeed. Chi. Venerable Immortal Songhuan's eyes suddenly opened, and a strange divine light of destruction shot out from his eyes, directly hitting the Dark Jade Devil Monarch's blood demon body. Sizzle sizzle sizzle. The blood python that the Dark Jade Devil Emperor transformed into had a tail that was more than 200 feet long. Instantly, it burned and turned into ashes. Then, a terrifying aura that could destroy everything spread. The Dark Jade Devil Emperor's body shattered layer by layer. In the blink of an eye, he had lost more than half of his body. Ah, damn it, wasn't Song Huan sealed? How can he still have such terrifying power? The Dark Jade Devil Emperor was in great pain. A bloody mist ignited on the blood python that he had transformed into. Finally, the terrifying destructive power on his body was dissipated. Then, he transformed back into a pool of blood and retreated more than 100 feet away. After suffering such heavy injuries, the blood that the devil had transformed into had shrunk by more than half. It could be said that his vitality had been greatly damaged. The Dark Jade Devil Emperor's blood swirled and wrapped around the 3 immortal Tao cultivators. After devouring their life essence, he barely recovered a little. When Su Fang saw this scene through the divine power of the magic treasure in the Zhenlong realm, he sighed inwardly, "What a pity!" This trap was originally set up for immortal Emperor Tianong. Who would have thought that the unlucky Dark Jade Devil Monarch would step into it? Suddenly, the Song Huan immortal looked into the void. In an instant, Su Fang, who was at the core of the true dragon realm, felt as if he was being locked onto by this shocking gaze. A strong sense of danger arose in his heart. Who are you? How can you erase my chi and blood and forcefully seize my spatial Dharma treasure? No matter who you are, die. An ethereal voice came from the primordial spirit. It was filled with lofty majesty, as if it was a supreme emperor. It made one unable to have a trace of will to resist. At the same time, it also carried a shocking murderous intent that wanted to kill Su Fang's primordial spirit. What a powerful Song Huan immortal! After being sealed for millions of years, he could still sense that the true dragon realm had changed owners. Moreover, he directly found Su Fang's location and used the primordial spirit's divine might. You want to kill me, Su Fang, with just the primordial spirit's voice? Cram! Su Fang shouted angrily. Together with his second primordial spirit, he unleashed the primordial spirit's divine might and crushed Song Huan Immortal's primordial spirit. What a powerful primordial spirit! It's actually not weaker than me. However, this can't save your life. The day I escape will be the day you die. Ah, ancient netherworld, you really deserve to die. The Tsang Huan Immortal's primordial spirit's voice came again. Who knew that halfway through, it would scream as if something unbelievable had happened. What happened? Su Fang borrowed the primordial spirit's divine might from the true dragon realm's Dharma treasure again, and looked at Tsang Huan Immortal. He saw that the Tsang Huan Immortal's eyes and the sealed body were constantly changing. Red and black divine lights eroded each other without giving way. The layers of seals on the body were also constantly breaking, causing the aura in the body to spread out. The frenzied and violent aura set off waves of shocking chi marks, forming a shock wave that swept everything around away. More than a dozen immortal Tao experts and 3 revived ancient demons were shattered on the spot and turned into ashes. Chapter 1294. Tsang Huan Immortal Sovereign's body continued to change. Puff, puff, puff. The muscles on Tsang Huan Immortal Sovereign's handsome face suddenly wriggled and his skin swelled, causing his face to become incomparably hideous and ugly. A single horn also emerged from the top of his head, and his ears stood up like a bat's ears. His muscles swelled and his limbs became thicker. Heavenly Demon, Tsang Huan Immortal Sovereign was actually transforming into a heavenly demon. To be precise, a demon race expert was about to drill out of his body and replace it. Ancient Netherworld, you were unable to devour me millions of years ago, and it's even more impossible this time. You should give up now. A hoarse voice came from Tsang Huan Immortal Sovereign's mouth. Following that was a completely different voice. Tsang Huan, you were lucky enough to detect me millions of years ago, which caused my possession to fail. This time, I've finally found a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Let's see how you're going to escape my possession. I advise you to hand over your body. Don't worry with my strength, I won't disgrace your body, haha. How hateful! If Tsang Huan's true dragon realm hadn't been forcefully seized, causing my mind to be in chaos, how could you have taken advantage of this opportunity? Tsang Huan, you and I have fought for so long. Today we're finally going to see the outcome. How delightful, ha ha. Hearing these 2 voices, Su Fang was incomparably shocked. Everyone else was also dumbfounded. The Dark Jade Devil Emperor and the resurrected Ancient Devil were both surprised and delighted. Possession. Ancient Netherworld is trying to possess Tsang Huan Immortal Sovereign's body. Chi, chi, chi. Immortal patterns were forcibly squeezed out of the body and then shattered. It was the powerful seal that sealed the body. There were also waves of astonishing primordial spirit aura that constantly burst out from the head of the body, forming shocking waves that swept out wildly. Not only the body, but also the sea of divine apertures was having a life and death battle. Stop him! Immortal Sovereign Tian Ang's expression changed drastically as he flew toward the body. If Ancient Netherworld succeeded in possessing the body, wouldn't he have to return empty-handed this time? Who dares to stop Ancient Netherworld? The Dark Jade Devil Emperor and the resurrected Ancient Devil burst out a monstrous demonic aura as they charged toward Immortal Sovereign Tian Ang. A group of demon race rascals dare to stop me? Profound Yellow Tyrant Dragon Claw. Celestial Emperor Tian Ang opened his hands and unleashed a giant golden claw that was 100 feet long. It carried a terrifying aura that could destroy everything and sent the resurrected Ancient Devil Scroll flying. The dark green demonic emperor's blood-soaked body was also scratched open. Although it recovered in an instant, the blood-soaked body shrank further. A few cracks appeared on Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's body. Blood splashed out and his body shriveled rapidly. His body couldn't withstand the power of an immortal emperor with his peak Immortal Emperor physique and collapsed. However, Immortal Emperor Tian Ang also broke through the obstruction of the devil race and arrived beside Immortal Venerable Tsang Huan's body like a bolt of lightning. He struck out a few seals in an attempt to seal the body, then he would take advantage of the situation and seize the body in one fell swoop. After leaving the devil sealing pagoda, he would try to control the body. Who knew, as soon as the seal came into contact with his physical body, it was shattered into pieces. It had no effect at all. This was understandable. How could one immortal emperor interfere in a battle of possession between two immortal emperors? Moreover, immortal Emperor Tian was only here with his avatar. The devil-sealing emperor's heavenly seal won't end me. Give it to me. A sharp divine light burst out from immortal venerable Tsang-Huan's eyes, shrouding immortal Emperor Tian's body. He was going to forcibly seize the devil-sealing emperor's heavenly seal from immortal Emperor Tian's body. No! Immortal Emperor Tian finally tasted the feeling of having his fused Tao artifact forcibly taken away. His body continued to crack under the shocking shackles, and he spurted out blood. Then, his eyes turned blood-red, oozing out blood. Puff! A cloud of blood mist wrapped around a huge seal and flew out of immortal Emperor Tian's body, hanging directly above immortal Emperor Tsang-Huan's head. Immortal Emperor Tian let out a miserable scream. His skin was cracked all over, and his body was dyed red with blood. The feeling of forcibly stripping the Tao artifact from his body made him feel even more painful and humiliated. However, he didn't expect that Su Fang had forcibly stripped the Tao artifact from his body not long ago, and what kind of pain he had to endure. Not daring to stay for a moment longer, immortal Emperor Tian quickly retreated thousands of feet away with a heart full of unwillingness. Looking over there, his eyes were full of anger and unwillingness. This time, even the devil-sealing emperor's heavenly seal was lost, and all his efforts were in vain. A shocking aura of deduction burst out of the demon-sealing imperial heavenly seal. Following it, it unleashed wisps of golden mystical light formed by countless immortal runes onto the flesh that was breaking into pieces. As the seals entered the body, the battle for immortal venerable Tsang-Huan's body became a stalemate. His face changed into immortal venerable Tsang-Huan's original face for a while, and then changed into demon venerable ancient Ming's appearance for a while. It looked strange and terrifying. Suddenly, the movement of the body suddenly stopped. It wasn't that it had calmed down, but that it was brewing something. Devil-sealing Emperor's heavenly seal. Damn it, why would the devil-sealing Emperor's heavenly seal appear here? I failed at the last step. I'm so unwilling. Tsang-Huan, even if I die, I will never continue to be sealed by you. Let's die together, ha ha. Damn it, Ancient Ming, hurry up and stop. Hearing the voice coming from the body, everyone's expression changed greatly. Run. Dark Jade Demon Emperor was the most cunning. Sensing that something was wrong, he immediately swept the blood and rushed toward the spatial array on the 7th floor of the devil-sealing tower. Two supreme experts at the level of immortal emperor surpassing detonated their bodies and primordial spirits at the same time. How terrifying was that? Not to mention immortal emperors, even supreme experts at the level of immortal emperor surpassing would be blown into powder on the spot. If they didn't escape now, when would they? Immediately after, immortal Emperor Tianong, the resurrected ancient devil, and the surviving experts of various forces all escaped from the 7th floor, not daring to stay for a moment longer. In immortal venerable Tsang-Huan's body, a shocking energy suddenly burst out from the sea of divine apertures. Rumble! A terrifying aura that could destroy everything swept in all directions. Everywhere it went, everything turned into nothingness. The space of the 7th floor of the devil-sealing tower collapsed instantly. The space was shattered, and shocking cracks appeared on the devil-sealing tower. It was on the verge of collapse, but it didn't collapse. The explosion gave rise to a huge shockwave that rushed out of the demon-sealing tower and spread out in all directions, sweeping away everything on the altar. The arrays around the altar were also shattered. Immortal Emperor Tianong and the other experts hadn't even escaped from the devil-sealing tower when the explosion occurred. All of them were shaken to the ground. The bodies of the experts below the level of Immortal Emperor were directly shattered. The Immortal Emperor experts spurted out blood and were severely injured. Immortal Emperor Tian-Ong wasn't injured at all. However, his heart was in pain as if it was being cut by a knife. The supreme body that he had schemed so hard to obtain was destroyed just like that? My body in the core of the true dragon world, Su Fang's heart was bleeding. The supreme body that was about to be in his hands was about to turn into nothingness. How could he be willing? Luo, reminded in the blood jade in his body, looked carefully. Immortal Venerable Tsang Huan's body hasn't been completely destroyed. How could the explosion of Immortal Emperor Yu's body and primordial spirit only have this much power? As expected. Suddenly, Demon Venerable Ancient Ming's proud laughter was heard. Tsang Huan, it's really satisfying to be able to destroy half of your body. Ha ha. Let's do it again. Then, Immortal Venerable Tsang Huan's angry voice was heard. Ancient Ming, you lunatic. Since you want to die, I'll accompany you. At most, we'll die together. These two lunatics. Su Fang's heart was in suspense again. Don't worry about anything else. You'd better make a decision quickly. Right now, you have two choices. You can either leave Tsang Huan's true dragon realm as soon as possible, or you should leave this place as soon as possible. The demon ceiling pagoda has reduced most of the power of the explosion just now. If it happens again, the true dragon realm might completely collapse at the same time as these two experts turn into ashes. What? Su Fangdao was shocked. Luo, what's the other way? Luo replied, there's another way. It's very dangerous. If you don't handle it well, your soul will be destroyed. Forget it. I understand now. You're saying you want me to stop them. Su Fang suddenly understood. Luo reminded again solemnly, whether it's Immortal Venerable Tsang Huan or Demon Venerable Ancient Ming, they're both extremely powerful. You have to think carefully. If you're not careful, you'll be consigned to eternal damnation. After hesitating for a while, Su Fang's eyes revealed a determined look. Wealth comes from danger. This time, I'll go all out. Danger? The path of an expert was filled with great danger at every moment. In the midst of danger, there was also a huge opportunity. Now that he had made a decision, Su Fang no longer hesitated. However, in order to prevent any accidents, he released Fairy Xuanxin, Xian Yintian, as well as the powerful big goblin and experts from the Crucible Transformation realm. If an accident really happened, with the Green Feather Emperor's spatial ability and the help of the True Dragon, it wouldn't be a problem for them to escape. Su Fang, be careful. Don't worry about us. Before leaving, Fairy Xuanxin couldn't help but call out and give him a gentle hug. However, she didn't stop Su Fang because she knew that once Su Fang decided on something, it would be very difficult for others to change his mind. The only thing she could do now was to let Su Fang go with peace of mind. It'll be fine. Su Fang patted Fairy Xuanxin's back, then turned and left. He directly passed through the array and arrived at the 7th floor of the demon ceiling tower in an instant. Looking at the almost collapsed 7th floor, the monsters on the ground, and the spatial turbulence formed by the big explosion, Su Fang couldn't help but tremble in fear. Tsang Huan Immortal Venerable's physical body had been destroyed beyond recognition. His immortal robe had long disappeared, revealing his body. Large chunks of flesh and blood had collapsed, and even his bones could be seen. It was a ghastly sight. A black devil chi and a red true chi repeatedly fought and fought over the physical body. There was also a terrifying primordial spirit divine aura bursting out from the head, setting off a primordial spirit shattering chi aura in the surrounding space, forcing Su Fang to stop 1,000 feet away. Second primordial spirit, go! Black Xian Guang burst out from his eyes, and the second primordial spirit shot out with a whoosh. It traversed more than 1,000 feet in a flash and hit the supreme physical body between the eyebrows. At this time, Tsang Huan Immortal Venerable's divine aperture ocean was engaged in a life-and-death battle. The second primordial spirit easily broke through the defenses of the divine aperture ocean and entered it. Songhuan Immortal Venerable's divine aperture ocean was boundless and incomparably vast. If Su Fang's divine aperture ocean was compared to an ocean, then Songhuan Immortal Venerable's divine aperture ocean was a vast and boundless starry sky. It was just that at least half of the magic power ocean was soaked in devil chi, setting off two stormy waves that clashed with each other. It was clearly the result of the battle between Songhuan Immortal Venerable and Demon Venerable Ancient Ming. Above the ocean, two young immortals, one red and one black, each stepped on an imposing aura, controlling a shocking primordial spirit stormy wave that was close to 10,000 miles wide. Roars surged, reaching 1,000 feet high, like two terrifying stormy waves and giant peaks, and also like a magnificent army. They clashed with each other, and it was almost impossible to distinguish between them. Chapter 1295. Songhuan Immortal, Ancient Netherworld Demon. These two supreme experts, one immortal and one demon, had been enemies for millions of years. They hated each other greatly. In addition, due to the changes in the world, the immortal and demon who had been sealed for millions of years had their consciousness eroded unknowingly. They had become crazy and violent. The first crazy collision not only caused serious damage to their physical bodies, but also caused them to lose their mind. Only crazy hatred and evil thoughts were left. Because of this, the two consciousnesses didn't notice the second primordial spirit entering the divine aperture ocean. At this moment, in the divine aperture ocean, the two primordial spirits retreated like a tide. They each gathered into a primordial spirit peak that surged wildly, causing the dermic power ocean below to also surge wildly. In the physical body, the immortal and demon powers also showed a brief moment of calmness. The two supreme experts were in the midst of a last crazy collision. Once they exploded, not only would their primordial spirits be destroyed, but their physical bodies would also turn into ashes. And as Luo expected, the entire Songhuan True Dragon realm would also completely collapse. Critical strike. What should I do? Gritting his teeth, Su Fang revealed a ruthless expression. Reincarnation, help me. The underworld reincarnation sword was released from the Heaven and Earth Tao Palace. It circled around Su Fang, stirring up a shocking reincarnation divine might. He strode toward the physical body. The chaotic aura emitted by the physical body was immediately drawn to the side when it came into contact with the reincarnation divine might. It was difficult to form a shackle on Su Fang. In the blink of an eye, Su Fang arrived in front of the physical body. Fate and fortune control the secrets of the heavens. If I am the master, all the worlds will submit. Fate and fortune control the secrets of the heavens. If I am destroyed, everything will be shattered. Fate and fortune control the secrets of the heavens. If the heavens punish me, I will defy the heavens. Fate and fortune control the secrets of the heavens. If the earth buries me, I will break the earth. Lightning of fate, reverse fate. Countless Tao runes of the life-shrinking technique surged out from the depths of his mind. Using the Yang Immortal's control and absorption, they combined with the power of Yin and Yang to form a lightning of fate that shot out from Su Fang's eyes. Lightning of fate. The new ability comprehended from the life-shrinking technique after fusing with the power of heavenly punishment, exploded for the first time. Buzz, the Tao rune that contained Su Fang's will and came from the supreme power of the void of destiny, struck Songhuan between his eyebrows and drilled into his divine aperture ocean. The lightning of destiny gave Su Fang the ability to represent the heavenly Tao and cast lightning punishment on the fates of others. This ability could be said to be heaven-defying. However, the mysterious woman in the mirror had warned Su Fang that if he directly used the life-shrinking art to activate the thunder of destiny, it would consume a great deal of his life energy. Perhaps it would instantly drain Su Fang of his life energy. Su Fang naturally did not dare to rashly attempt it. Thus, He did not use his lightning of fate to directly destroy his enemies. Instead, he used the divine might of his lightning of fate to forcibly change the fate of others. The lightning Dao rune of destiny merged with the power of yin and yang and entered the divine aperture ocean. It didn't directly target Song Huan immortal venerable or demon venerable ancient Ming. Instead, it directly struck the second primordial spirit. However, the consumption this time was not small. In an instant, it consumed 3,000 years of Su Fang's lifespan. Su Fang could still endure this, but he still broke out in cold sweat. Song Huan immortal exalt and demon exalt ancient immortal exalts nascent divinities surged like waves and condensed into a huge wave peak. With a surging momentum, they surged towards each other and were about to collide. In an instant, the second nascent divinity appeared between the two wave peaks with a whoosh. Black Xian Guang shot out and formed a black screen of light. At the same time, the second nascent divinity used the heavenly demon disintegration seal. Together with Night Demon's ability to control consciousness, it forcibly affected and controlled the consciousness of Song Huan immortal exalt and demon exalt ancient immortal exalt. Boom! The two nascent divinity wave peaks fiercely collided. Crack! An ethereal sound of thunder resounded from the unseen world. The scene of the sea of magic power being destroyed did not appear. It was as if there was an invisible force that gently guided the destructive force of the collision to the side, and the guide was the second nascent divinity that was enveloped by the lightning of fate rune and the power of yin and yang. The two nascent divinity wave peaks distorted and rumbled to the side. A whirlpool formed by the twisting of two distinct nascent divinity waves rapidly formed, causing the sea of magic power below to also form a whirlpool state. Looking from above the sea of the divine aperture, it looked like a huge yin and yang whirlpool. At the same time that the second nascent divinity moved, Su Fang's original body also suddenly made a move. He fully activated the 9 Yang 9 transformations in his body and crazily absorbed the pure yin energy absorbed by the Chaos Primordial Sage, turning it into a grayish-white yin and yang energy. Then, he slapped his palm on the dantian of his physical body. At this moment, the two distinct powers of immortal and demon were rampant in his physical body. When Su Fang's yin and yang energy entered his physical body, it immediately gave the two powers a place to vent. Like a wave, it flowed along Su Fang's palm and crazily surged into Su Fang's body. The power of yin and yang was the fusion of the power of 9 yang and 9 yin. Not only was it superior to other powers, but it also had the miraculous effect of balancing and harmonizing. As soon as the powers of immortal sovereign Song Huan and demon sovereign Ming Gu entered Su Fang's body, they were melted by the power of yin and yang and finally entered Su Fang's body. How terrifying was the power of two peerless powerhouses that surpassed immortal emperors! After entering Su Fang's body, and being fused by the power of yin and yang, Su Fang found it difficult to digest them. He immediately formed a seal, and the insides of his physical body shattered, turning into a state of blood and water. However, on the surface it looked intact, but the flesh, bones, and even the organs under the skin had all turned into blood and water. As the yellow spring blood sea continued to transform, Su Fang had already mastered the yellow spring blood sea to such an exquisite level. Su Fang, who was in the state of blood and water, had his ability to devour and fuse greatly increased. He took the opportunity to guide this majestic energy to cultivate and turn it into true qi, as if an expert was imbuing him with power. At the same time, he guided the true qi that had been fused by the power of yin and yang into the yin-yang Dao Palace formed by the 28 yang meridians to attack the 29th yang meridian. As time passed, the power in Su Fang's body began to swell, and he felt like he was about to explode. He was actually going to attack the peak of the 9th Dao realm. No, now is definitely not the time to break through. Su Fang hurriedly suppressed the true qi in his body, and at the same time, the power of yin and yang exploded again. It contained astonishing divine power, and like a flood, it poured into Tsang Huan Immortal's body. The two powers in the body had become relatively stable because Su Fang had absorbed and digested a lot. In addition, the sea in the divine aperture had gradually calmed down, and the consciousness of Tsang Huan Immortal and Demon Lord Ancient Ming had also completely disappeared. Su Fang's power of yin and yang easily entered the body. His meridians, flesh, bones, and even his golden core, heart, and divine aperture were all filled with the power of yin and yang. Like a fusion agent, the power of yin and yang allowed the violent immortal and demon powers to reach a delicate balance, and finally fuse together, turning into true qi that circulated in the body. After an unknown amount of time, after stopping the infusion of power, Su Fang let out a long sigh of relief, and then sat on the ground, as if his entire body had collapsed. The shocking crisis was finally resolved. Second primordial spirit. After peeling off a yang immortal and entering the divine aperture sea, Su Fang was instantly dumbfounded by the scene he saw. Tsang Huan Immortal's divine aperture sea had turned into a huge spiral vortex, extremely similar to the growth rings of trees and the navel of humans. It was almost exactly the same as Su Fang's yin-yang Dao wheel, and an astonishing primordial spirit divine power spread out from the vortex. From the vortex, Su Fang sensed the existence of the second primordial spirit, and the consciousness of Tsang Huan Immortal and Demon Lord Ancient Ming had completely disappeared. Only then did he let out a sigh of relief. Second primordial spirit, are you all right? Whoosh! From the depths of the vortex, a black Xian Guang shot out. It was Su Fang's second primordial spirit. Main body, I'm fine. What about Tsang Huan Immortal and Demon Lord Ancient Ming? Their consciousness has fallen into madness, and in addition to the previous primordial spirit collision, they suffered heavy losses, so I easily devoured and merged them. Su Fang was finally completely relieved. Second primordial spirit. How did Tsang Huan Immortal's divine aperture sea become like this? It's probably because the main body blessed me with the lightning of destiny, which changed the fate of Tsang Huan Immortal and Demon Lord Ancient Ming's primordial spirits perishing together. And the power of yin and yang caused the sea of magic power to reach a state of balance. As for the specific reason, it's hard for me to say. Su Fang stuttered and asked, is it a good thing or a bad thing? With the sea of magic power in the state of the yin-yang vortex and the true qi in my physical body, my current physical body can be said to be perfect. As for what abilities it has, I don't know for now, but there's one thing I'm sure of, it's powerful. The second primordial spirit replied coldly, and not a trace of emotion could be heard in the voice of the primordial spirit. The second primordial spirit controlled the physical body and suddenly stood up. He circulated his true qi, and a powerful aura burst out from the physical body. This aura was very strange. It was neither the true qi of an immortal Dao cultivator nor the devil qi of a devil Dao cultivator, but a combination of both. It was very strange. Then, the physical body changed and turned into a hideous and ugly heavenly devil. The aura that burst out was also devil qi. Then, it changed again and turned into the appearance of a handsome man. He looked exactly the same as Tsang Huan Immortal, but he exuded an eerie and austere aura. The aura that he carried was that of a pure immortal Dao cultivator. Su Fang was dumbfounded and exclaimed in his heart, "Monster! My physical body's essence blood created a monster like Gue Gue. Now, I've used the lightning of destiny and the power of yin and yang to create an even stranger monster." The second primordial spirit said coldly, "I can feel that not only can I use immortal Dao abilities, but I can also release devil Dao abilities. As for what other abilities I have, I still need to explore further." After pausing for a moment, the second primordial spirit continued, "However, the damage to my physical body is too severe. I can't even use 10% of the strength of Tsang Huan, immortal or demon lord ancient Ming. I'm only slightly stronger than the giant gorilla. Main body, you have to find a way to restore my physical body. Su Fang felt another wave of pain. To restore this physical body to Tsang Huan immortal's level, who knew how many tens of thousands of years it would take, and who knew how many terrifying resources he would have to invest. He originally thought that he had picked up a treasure, but who knew that he would get such a bottomless pit? Only the heavens knew how many resources he would have to invest. Luo Yu scolded from the blood jade. Su Fang, your thoughts of reaching the heavens in a single step will only harm you. Have you not gained enough from this trip to the god burial enclosure? Could it be that you want to directly possess the power of an immortal emperor and immediately sweep through the immortal region? Greed is a great taboo in cultivation. If you always have this kind of mentality, even with the supreme providence brought by the purple cloud Dharma spirit, you will sooner or later fall from your greed. Su Fang's heart couldn't help but tremble. It was as if he had been enlightened, and sweat seeped out of his forehead. This trip to the god burial enclosure could be said to be a great harvest. Whether it was his personal strength or overall strength, it had skyrocketed to an unimaginable level. What was his strength before entering the god burial enclosure? He had to be careful when dealing with an ordinary immortal emperor. What was his strength now? Even if he was facing an immortal emperor, he still had the power to fight. His subordinates now had the terrifying combat strength of 2 immortal emperors. Luo, thank you for your reminder. I will remember it in my heart. Su Fang responded very sincerely. That's for the best. In order to resolve the crisis, you unintentionally created this monster. It's not as simple as you think. Extraordinary, it can be called extraordinary. Chapter 1296. Law's origin was mysterious, and he was very knowledgeable. Since even he said that this monster was extraordinary, then it must be very extraordinary. Law continued, first, the foundation of this physical body. Immortal Emperor use immortal venerate and demon venerate. How powerful were their physical bodies? This physical body is the fusion of the two. Although it's broken now, once it recovers, it will not be weaker than your perfect physical body. Su Fang's eyes lit up. Demon Venerate Ancient Ming used a planting technique to possess Tsang Huan Immortal Venerate, and coupled with the explosion of the 2 forces in the physical body just now, it caused the physical bodies of the 2 experts to achieve fusion. After the fusion, the physical body would be powerful to an unimaginable extent. Law then added, more importantly, I feel a mutated power from this body. Law, you're saying that this physical body is the same as the Pig Horse King, the heaven-reaching demon Venerate, and the Stone Egg? The Pig Horse King and the heaven-reaching demon Venerate have multiplied and cultivated for generations before they mutated. And this physical body is somewhat similar to the Stone Egg. Your thunder of destiny changed the sea of the divine aperture, and the physical body changed with the power of yin and yang. It's a mutation caused by external forces, and it's even more peculiar than the Stone Egg. Not to mention the great world, I'm afraid that you won't find a similar physical body in the myriad of worlds. When the ability of mutation appears, it will definitely be incomparably shocking. This immortal demon body monster is actually a treasure. Su Fang exclaimed in surprise and was overjoyed. Thinking of the yin and yang vortex in the sea of the monster's divine aperture that revealed the phenomenon of the heavenly Tao, Su Fang thought of the mysterious woman's words and his own yin-yang Tao wheel. Su Fang speculated that this monster's future growth was probably even more shocking than Law had imagined. With this physical body, the second primordial spirit has the strength comparable to an ordinary immortal emperor. When it continues to grow in the future, it will become a clone of yours. The physical body and primordial spirit will be incomparably powerful. Such a monster is simply terrifying. But you're still not satisfied. I really don't know what to say about you. Su Fong chuckled as he looked at the immortal demon monster, unable to contain his joy. But thinking of the danger he had just experienced, Su Fong felt a lingering fear. Luo Chang had said that the greater the danger, the greater the opportunity. It was the same on the other hand. If one wanted to obtain more opportunities, they would have to endure the same dangers. Celestial Emperor Tian Eng's avatar, the Devil Clan, and the surviving powerhouses are still here. Although he was still unable to control the true dragon realm, Su Fong was already the owner of this spatial Dharma treasure. With the help of the Dharma treasure's divine power, Su Fong's senses could cover the entire true dragon realm. At a glance, Yang Kai noticed that these people hadn't left the demon's sealing tower after escaping. Instead, they had stayed on the altar and were eyeing the demon's sealing tower covetously. Looks like you're not satisfied until you've obtained a supreme physical body. Su Fong smiled coldly. The second primordial spirit's cold voice came from the monster's mouth. Kill them all. Su Fong shook his head repeatedly. Kill them all? Wouldn't that be a pity? Other than Celestial Emperor Tianong, everyone else is suppressed. If I have such a large group of powerhouses under my command, plus you and the gluttonous demon's immortal emperor's strength, even if we can't conquer this immortal realm, we won't be far from it. Second primordial spirit, stay here and recover for now. Lure Celestial Emperor Tianong and the other powerhouses of the Devil Clan. He gave the second primordial spirit some yin-yang immortal sky pills. The yin-yang power in the pills could be used to recover its severely damaged physical body. If they dare to come, I'll make sure they don't return, the second primordial spirit replied indifferently. Whoosh! Su Fong controlled the spatial Dharma treasure's divine power and disappeared from the 7th level of the demon's sealing tower. The monster's second primordial spirit sat cross-legged on the ground and restrained its aura. It was like a bait waiting for fish to take the bait. The center of the true dragon realm. Su Fong appeared in the space. Fairy Xuanxin smiled faintly. She looked calm, but it was as if a heavy burden had been lifted from her body. Clearly, she was extremely worried. The other big goblin and powerhouses also came forward, looking concerned. Feeling everyone's concern, Su Fong felt warm in his heart. At the same time, his heart was filled with lofty aspirations and ambitions. From now on, he had strong capital. He could lead his many subordinates and create a grand undertaking in the great world. He could hold his head high. His family and friends would never be threatened again. Next, Su Fong separated thousands of young immortal strands and sent them into the array formations in the true dragon realm. He had to master the array formations, hand seals, immortal marks, restrictions, and all kinds of sealing boundaries as soon as possible to activate the power of the true dragon realm. At the very least, he had to seal the open space of the true dragon realm and not let Celestial Emperor Tian Eng's clone escape. After absorbing and fusing a large amount of immortal and demonic power, Su Fong had reached the peak of the 9th Dao realm of the Feather Immortal Realm. However, he could only try his best to suppress it now. After dealing with Celestial Emperor Tian Eng's clone, he had to leave the true dragon realm's Dao artifact space and go to nature to accept the baptism of the 9 tribulations and ascend to the realm Immortal Realm. On the altar outside the demon's sealing tower, Celestial Emperor Tian Eng's clone sat cross-legged on the ground. From time to time, he would release his sensing power to investigate the movements in the demon's sealing tower. The powerhouses from the 8 forces had been sealed and shackled by Celestial Emperor Tian Ong on the 7th level of the demon's sealing tower. Without Celestial Emperor Tian Eng's orders, they did not dare to act rashly. They stood obediently behind Celestial Emperor Tian Ong. The dark green demonic emperor and the few surviving ancient demons who had been resurrected were at the other end of the altar. In the demon's sealing tower, the demon race and Celestial Emperor Tian Ong had completely fallen out. If it were not for the supreme expert's body in the demon's sealing tower, they would have already exploded. Time passed day by day. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong appeared to be very patient. He sat cross-legged on the ground and did not move. For a peerless powerhouse like Celestial Emperor Tian Ong, 100 years was just a snap of his fingers. For the supreme expert's body in the demon ceiling tower, he was willing to wait even if he had to wait for 10,000 years. There was a more important reason why Celestial Emperor Tian Ong left behind the Tao artifact dimension. That was Su Feng. He was very unwilling to let the purple cloud Dharma spirit disappear without a trace. About 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. The demon ceiling tower was still dead silent. Whoosh! On this day, Celestial Emperor Tian Ong, who was like an ice sculpture, stood up from the ground and said in a majestic voice, "Let's go into the tower." Whoosh! Whoosh! Celestial Emperor Tian Ong took the lead and entered the tower. The other powerhouses from the 8 forces followed behind. Kiki! The human cultivators finally can't wait any longer. Let's go in too. Even if we can't help Demon Venerable Ancient Ming successfully take over the body, we still need Song Huan Immortal Venerable's body. The strongest resurrected ancient demon said in a stiff and eerie voice. He led the other resurrected ancient demons and went straight to the tower's door. The dark green demonic emperor, who had transformed into a bloody man, looked hesitant. In the end, he gritted his teeth and followed the resurrected ancient demon. Just as Celestial Emperor Tian Ong and the demon race entered the demon ceiling tower, Su Feng, who was sitting cross-legged in the center of the true dragon world, suddenly opened her eyes. Finally, you can't wait any longer? If you had attacked from the beginning, it would have been troublesome to suppress you. Now, Celestial Emperor Tian Ong, dark green demonic emperor, I'll let you have a good taste of having your lives controlled by others. Su Feng's eyes were cold. On the 7th floor of the demon ceiling tower, Celestial Emperor Tian Ong saw Celestial Emperor Song Huan's body sitting cross-legged in the distance. A divine light burst out of his eyes. It traveled through space and swept across the tattered body. His life aura is weak, and his true qi is in disorder. Could it be that Song Huan Immortal Venerable and Demon Venerable Ancient Ming were both injured while fighting for control of the body? Celestial Emperor Tian Ong was pleasantly surprised. However, he was in Celestial Emperor Powerhouse after all. He was very cautious. He immediately gave a strict order. Piaoshua's spiritual master, go and test it out. This is. Piaoshua's spiritual master was very unwilling, but she had to bite the bullet and go forward. Fortunately, the stone golems, corpse puppets, and metal monsters in the 7th level were all shattered by the explosion. Daoist Snowdrift was able to move unimpeded. He controlled an icy flying sword to shoot towards Song Huan's body when he was 300 meters away from immortal supremacy Song Huan. Whoosh! The flying sword hit the body's chest, and the body fell to the ground. There was no seal on the body, nor was there any defensive force field. However, the flying sword was also rebounded and flew back to Piaoshua's spiritual master's hand. Just as I expected, Celestial Emperor Tian Ong was overjoyed. At this moment, the space array in the corner of the hall flashed. Dark Green Demon Emperor and the resurrected Ancient Demon came out of the array and went straight for the body. Stop them! With a cold shout, Celestial Emperor Tian Ong activated his divine power. He formed a seal and used the profound yellow tyrant dragon claw. It turned into a huge golden claw print and swept toward the demons with an aura that could destroy everything. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong, if you go against the demons now, the heavenly law immortal world will become a wasteland when the demon army arrives. Dark Green Demon Emperor threatened. Will the demons let the heavenly law immortal world go if you get the body? If I kill you and have the body of an unparalleled powerhouse, the great immortal world will be free for me to roam. So what if I lose the entire heavenly law immortal world? Celestial Emperor Tian Ong laughed loudly. The domineering aura of an unparalleled celestial emperor powerhouse was fully revealed. Boom, boom, boom. Both sides unleashed their auras on the 7th level of the demon's sealing tower and started a crazy battle. It was very lively. Not only were there many powerhouses from various forces in the immortal realm, but there was also the clone of Celestial Emperor Tian Ong, Dark Green Demon Emperor, and the resurrected Ancient Demon were quickly suppressed and retreated to the edge of the 7th level. Songhuan's Celestial Emperor's unparalleled body belongs to me. Ha! Celestial Emperor Tian Ong flew into the sky and laughed wildly. Come here. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong was still a few hundred feet away from the body. He raised his arm and grabbed. A majestic suction force burst out and formed a shackle that shrouded the body. Whoosh! The body flew toward Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's palm like a rock. Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's eyes shone brightly. He was very excited. In an instant, Songhuan's Celestial Emperor's body was only 2 to 3 feet away from Celestial Emperor Tian Ong. He suddenly opened his eyes. Vortexes were spinning in the depths of his eyes. Suddenly, a terrifying sword chi burst out from his eyes. It was like a flood that swallowed Celestial Emperor Tian Ong without any preparation. Although Celestial Emperor Tian Ong was using the body of a peak immortal emperor and his primordial spirit was not his original body, he was still an immortal emperor expert. He was caught off guard and immediately unleashed the divine might of his primordial spirit to escape from the destruction of his divine aperture ocean. However, he was not so lucky in the next moment. Boom! The monster with the second primordial spirit punched out. A strange power burst out and shattered Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's shackles. The punch landed squarely on Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's chest. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's defense was instantly shattered. His body was also shattered. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's body was like a kite with a broken string. The celestial demon monster slowly landed on the ground. Its cold eyes swept across the crowd like a god of slaughter. It was domineering and ferocious. The vast space of the 7th floor of the demon's sealing tower instantly fell silent. Everyone was incomparably shocked. They trembled and their legs went soft. Are you guys done fighting? If you are, make a choice quickly. Submit to me, Su Fang, or die. Chapter 1297. Su Fang. Everyone present was shocked and surprised. They were dumbfounded and some of them were so shocked that their eyeballs almost fell out of their socket. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was severely injured by the immortal fiend monster's punch. His chest caved in and he looked extremely terrifying. Fortunately, the terrifying immortal fiend monster did not intend to continue attacking, which gave him a chance to catch his breath. When he saw Su Fang, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong immediately forgot to treat his injuries. His eyes suddenly shone with shock, joy, and a trace of doubt. There was a moment of silence. A celestial emperor burst into laughter and said, Su Fang, your ability to escape is indeed unparalleled. You've been hiding like a mouse for so long and now you want us to surrender to you. What a joke. It's you? This celestial emperor was from the great Qian immortal world. Previously, when Immortal Emperor Tian Ong forced Su Fang to hand over the purple Qi Dharma spirit, this celestial emperor added insult to injury and revealed that Su Fang had the underworld reincarnation sword. I don't want you to surrender. I want you to die. Su Fang said in a voice that was full of killing intent. You're extremely arrogant. The celestial emperor from the great Qian immortal world sneered disdainfully. Then, he asked Immortal Emperor Tian Ong, Immortal Emperor, you said before that as long as we capture this person alive, we'll be free. Does that still count? Of course, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong agreed. He was extremely terrified of the immortal fiend monster and was very confused about Su Fang's sudden appearance. He needed someone to test Su Fang. Su Fang, why don't you surrender? Whoosh! The celestial emperor from the great Qian immortal world and the other 5 experts from the Great Qian immortal world made hand seals and unleashed their divine powers. They then charged toward Su Fang. "Shackle me." Su Fang did not move. He just stretched out a finger and gently pointed at them. Boom! A majestic divine power shrouded the 6 people from the Great Qian immortal world as if a mountain had fallen from the sky. Puff, puff, puff. The aura of the 6 people was instantly shattered under the huge pressure. They could not even control of their bodies and fell to the ground like dumplings. What divine power is this? Everyone was shocked once again. How was this a technique? It was clearly a supreme heavenly Tao. Every movement was a supreme technique. Not to mention feather immortal cultivators, even immortal emperor, you couldn't do this. Everyone, including Celestial Emperor Tianong, did not know that they were currently in the Tsang True Dragon realm. They thought that they were in a dangerous place in the giant battle canyon. At this time, Su Fang had not only merged with the Tsang True Dragon realm, but also used these 5 years to activate a part of the power of this space magic treasure. In this space, although Su Fang was not like the supreme heavenly Tao, who could casually kill immortal emperors, activating the shackles of the magic treasure was something that could be done with a thought. Whoosh! A big goblin was released by Su Fang. It was the Pig Horse King, Zhu Huang. Zhu Huang was like a ferocious demon. He pounced on the immortal emperor from the Great Qian immortal world and attacked wildly. This person was shackled by the magic treasure and his strength was suppressed to the limit. However, Zhu Huang was not affected at all. Soon, Zhu Huang was beaten to the point that he could only defend himself. In the end, Zhu Huang, who had transformed into a demon, bit off half of his head and killed him on the spot. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, their bodies trembled, and their eyes were filled with fear as they looked at Su Fang. Su Fang looked at the dark green demon emperor with a sharp gaze. The dark green demon emperor, who had turned into a blood man, suddenly trembled. A sense of extreme danger enveloped him. The devil's reaction was extremely fast. His body shattered into pieces and turned into a blood python. Then, he rushed towards the space array in the corner. "Do you think you can escape?" With a sneer, Su Fang activated the space magic power of the Tsang True Dragon realm again. It turned into a majestic shackle force that enveloped the blood python. It slowed down the speed of the dark green demon emperor. Whoosh! Su Fang lifted his foot and crossed a distance of hundreds of feet in one step. He appeared directly in front of the dark green demon emperor. In the space inside the demon ceiling tower, the others were suppressed. It was difficult for them to even fly. However, Su Fang was a realm immortal. He could travel freely in the void. "Ant-like human, I will kill you!" The dark green demon emperor roared. The blood python turned into a blood vortex. It released an astonishing devouring power and resisted the pressure of the magic treasure of the Tsang True Dragon realm. "Let's see how long you can hold on." Su Fang smiled coldly. He kept activating the power of the Tsang True Dragon realm to suppress the demon effortlessly. "Let's kill him together. Otherwise, no one can escape." Immortal Emperor Tianong shouted coldly. Whoosh! 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 Taking advantage of the time when Su Fang was suppressing the dark green demon emperor, the experts of the other 8 forces and the resurrected ancient demons used their super skills or Tao artifacts to attack Su Fang. "You are courting death." Su Fang activated the power of the magic treasure of the Tsang True Dragon realm and slowed down the tide-like attack. However, there were too many experts on the other side. Their combined attack was extremely powerful. Even an ordinary immortal emperor would have to put in a lot of effort to deal with it. Su Fang activated the power of the magic treasure and could not break the attack. However, it slowed down the attacks and reduced their power. "Goblet Demon, go!" Whoosh! The huge Goblet Demon was released by Su Fang. It spat out a gust of poisonous gas. It turned into waves of poisonous gas and corroded everyone's aura and Tao artifacts. They shattered and fell to the ground. There were also some sacred arts and Tao artifacts that landed on the Gorb demon's body, causing it considerable damage. Wounds appeared on its massive body, and black blood gushed out. The main reason was that the Gorb demon's life force had only recovered a little, and the attacks from the others were too fierce. Whoosh! The immortal demon monster attacked again. Like the god of death, it killed its way into the crowd. Step by step, it carried an invincible and terrifying aura. It was surrounded by a defensive domain formed by the fusion of the immortal demon power. The storm-like attacks crashed into this domain and were instantly shattered. The second primordial spirit controlled the immortal demon monster and activated the strange and powerful fusion of the immortal demon power. A moment ago, it was a supreme super skill of the demon race. In the next second, it exploded with the peerless power of a cultivator of the righteous Tao. Then, it was a primordial spirit attack that caught many experts off guard. The immortal demon monster displayed an extremely powerful combat strength. In less than 10 breaths, 6 peerless experts of the 9th Tao realm of the world immortal realm, including the strongest resurrected ancient demon, were severely injured by the immortal demon monster. There were also some whose primordial spirits were directly injured by the second primordial spirit. This was the result of the second primordial spirit obeying Su Fang's orders and not starting a massacre. Otherwise, it would have been a massacre. Is this the Tsang Huan immortal venerable or the ancient Ming demon? Why would this monster help Su Fang? Everyone's mind was buzzing. Their hearts were filled with shock and horror. Their willpower was on the verge of collapse. A ruthless light flashed in immortal Emperor Tian Ang's eyes. With a flip of his palm, the immortal slaughtering dragon bow appeared in his hand. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Let's see if you have a chance to revive this time. At this moment, Su Fang took out the thunder punishment cauldron. An astonishing thunder element divine might covered the blood vortex. The dark green devil emperor was already heavily injured. Moreover, half of his body was destroyed by the Tsang Huan immortal venerable. His strength was not even half of his peak state. How could he resist the divine might of the true dragon realm's spatial treasure? The blood vortex was constantly compressed and collapsed. Finally, it was less than 100 feet in size. This emperor. No, I surrender. Master, don't kill me. The dark green devil emperor's pleading voice came out from the blood. Then, the blood rolled and turned back into a blood man. The peerless blood devil, who almost killed Su Fang in Demon Dawn Fortress, a peak immortal emperor realm expert of the devil race, was now like a docile sheep. Su Fang struck out a hand seal. Borrowing the divine might of the true dragon realm, he shackled the dark green devil emperor and sent him into a formation of the true dragon realm. Then, he disappeared into the void. The primordial spirit and physical body of this devil had fused into one. It was very difficult to completely shackle him. Moreover, he was cunning and ruthless. He could only be slowly tortured in the formation until he surrendered from the bottom of his heart. Suddenly, a monstrous murderous aura swept over, shrouding the entire 7th floor of the demon's ceiling pagoda. The immortal slaughtering dragon bow. It turned out that immortal Emperor Tian Ang had activated the immortal slaughtering dragon bow, one of the 10 great Tao artifacts. It made him look like a god of death, majestic and murderous. Su Fang, you have really shocked this emperor. I even feel a great threat from you. If you are given enough time, the heavenly Tao immortal world will be destroyed in your hands sooner or later. Therefore, this emperor will never give you the chance to grow. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's eyes were filled with murderous intent. His voice was also filled with cold killing intent that could cause one's will to collapse. Kill me? You don't have the qualification to do so here. Su Fang's lips curled into a disdainful sneer. This emperor can activate the immortal slaughtering bow. At this moment, I can even kill an immortal emperor. Do you think I can't kill you? You would never have thought that this emperor would be able to fuse with the immortal slaughtering bow so quickly with this peerless Tao artifact, right? The immortal slaughtering dragon bow was originally the possession of Crown Prince Ziwei. Since Crown Prince Ziwei was killed by immortal Emperor Tianong, the immortal slaughtering dragon bow also fell into the hands of immortal Emperor Tianong. The reason why immortal Emperor Tianong waited outside the demon sealing pagoda for 5 years was to fuse with the immortal slaughtering dragon bow. It was very difficult to fuse with the 10 great Tao artifact. It also required a great opportunity to be recognized by the Tao artifact. However, immortal Emperor Tianong's cultivation was profound. In addition, the immortal slaughtering dragon bow had been repaired. The bowstring was refined from the dragon tendons of the peerless genius of the Long clan. Therefore, immortal Emperor Tianong could fuse with this peerless Tao artifact to a certain extent in just 5 years. At least half of its power could be unleashed. Immortal Emperor Tianong originally intended to use this as a trump card to seize immortal Emperor Songhuan's body in one fell swoop. However, immortal Emperor Tianong had already made up his mind to kill Su Feng even if he had to give up this avatar. Here, I am your heaven. Long Tianong, can you defy heaven? Su Feng looked at immortal Emperor Tianong without a trace of fear. Instead, he looked at immortal Emperor Tianong with a supreme domineering aura. You want to be my heaven? Immortal Emperor Tianong laughed wildly. Not only can you not kill me, but your life will also be controlled by me. Previously, when you threatened me with my family, I once said that I will not leave a single blade of grass in the heavenly Tao immortal realm. I will eradicate the Long clan completely. As for you, I will peel off your skin and pull out your tendons. I will roast your primordial spirit in the demonic flame and let you suffer for eternity. Today, I will start with your avatar. Soon, it will be your true body. Su Feng said word by word. It was like the voice of the heavenly Tao, pronouncing immortal Emperor Tianong's death sentence. No matter what strange things you have, I will personally activate the immortal slaughtering bow. You will die without a doubt. Take your arrogant and idiotic fantasies with you and go to hell. His immortal Emperor Tianong suddenly pulled the immortal slaughtering bow into a full moon. The power in the space seemed to gather in the bow, setting off waves of terrifying chi traces. Chapter 1298. You're a celestial emperor, the master of the heaven law immortal realm, but you use the Taoist instrument of Emperor Ning's mansion as a life-saving straw. Moreover, the bowstring is made of the dragon tendons of the Long family. Celestial Emperor Tianong, I'm ashamed of you. Su Feng looked at Celestial Emperor Tianong coldly. Instead of being afraid, he sneered at him. After the peerless genius of the Long family was killed by Emperor Ning, Celestial Emperor Tianong was also defeated by Emperor Ning. This was the greatest humiliation in his life. Now that Su Feng said it to his face, he flew into a rage. If I'm not using my doppelganger, I can easily kill you with one finger. How can you be so arrogant? Whether you use the Taoist instrument or the supreme magic skills of the Long family, you must die today. Before his voice died away, the bowstring of the Dragon Slayer immortal slaying bow vibrated, causing the space to vibrate. The arrow condensed by the golden dragon's shadow on the bowstring was shot out angrily. After the arrow left the bowstring, Celestial Emperor Tianong seemed to have been sucked dry. His body quickly shriveled, and many parts of his body collapsed. This arrow consumed more than half of his genuine chi and life force. The golden dragon roared with a shocking murderous intent, leaving a tear in the void. Everyone was frightened and dodged to the side. A great elder of the Celestial Moon Palace could not dodge in time. Affected by the momentum, his body was torn into 2 pieces, and he died instantly. The arrow was as fast as lightning. In an instant, it was less than 30 meters away from Su Feng. The 10 great Taoist instruments really live up to their reputation. Su Fang had personally experienced the power of Huang Lingyao's Yunshao Thunder Sword. However, her cultivation was too far away from Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's doppelganger. The power of the Yunshao Thunder Sword was much weaker than that of the immortal slaying bow. Suddenly, Su Fang parted his hands and unleashed a peerless hand seal. In the void in front of him, it was as if a pebble had been thrown into a lake. Ripples appeared in the air, and rapidly transformed into a spatial vortex. The bottom of the vortex was extremely deep, and one could faintly see the scene in the depths of the canyon. Whoosh! The arrow shot by the Dragon Slayer immortal slaying bow went into the space vortex and into the giant battle canyon. After a while, the void returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. Everyone turned into stone golems. Tian Ong Immortal Emperor exclaimed, "How could you have the power to control this space-time?" "I said I'm your god here," Su Fang said. His face was a little pale. He had used the power of the magic treasure of the true dragon realm to connect with the void outside and transfer Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's shocking attack. It had consumed a lot of energy. "Impossible, this is impossible. If you have such a heaven-defying ability, it would be easy for you to suppress the dark green Devil Emperor and the others. Why would you go through so much trouble?" Immortal Emperor Tian Ong could not believe it. "Emperor Celestial Emperor Bao, you bow bow bow. Bow. If an Immortal Emperor expert activates the 10 Great Tao Artifacts, the power of the 10 Great Tao Artifacts is astonishing. Wouldn't it be a pity if you used the Tao Artifact to escape?" "Humph. How did you know that this Emperor has fused with the immortal slaughtering Bao?" Su Fang said patiently, "You are in the world of my Tao Artifact. In the past 5 years, your every move cannot escape my eyes. Moreover, your body is filled with the murderous aura of the immortal slaying Bao. How can you hide from me?" Whoosh! Everyone cried out in surprise, incomparably shocked. This was actually the interior of the Tao artifact world. What kind of Tao artifact could be so vast and so close to the real nature? What was even more shocking was that Su Fang was actually the master of this Tao artifact. "Space magic treasure. It's a space magic treasure," Celestial Emperor Tian Ong exclaimed. His face was full of shock and joy. As expected of an immortal emperor expert with such a deep background, he actually knew about spatial treasures. Not only that, he was still unwilling to give up and wanted to seize the treasures. "After I kill you, this spatial Dharma treasure and everything you have will belong to me." Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's eyes flashed with greed. Suddenly, a shocking dragon chi burst out from his body and rushed towards Su Fang. As he ran, his body, except for his legs, quickly turned into the body of a divine dragon. With a terrifying divine power, he shackled the entire space of the 7th floor of the demon ceiling tower. It was not that Celestial Emperor Tian Ong was blinded by the treasures and wanted to kill the master of the Tao artifact in the world of the Tao artifact. In his opinion, with Su Fang's cultivation at the Yuxian stage, how could he control a legendary spatial Dharma treasure? At most, he could only control a little bit. Just now, when he transferred the shocking arrow, he had already used up most of his Dharma treasure. As for the terrifying immortal demon monster, Celestial Emperor Tian Ong was confident that he could still deal with it. The most important thing was to kill Su Fang. Then, everything would be solved. "You don't know what's good for you. You are in Su Fang's Tao artifact world. How dare you be so arrogant?" With a cold smile, Su Fang used his mind to activate the divine power of the Dharma treasure. Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's monstrous aura shattered layer by layer. Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's running momentum suddenly became difficult. Whoosh! It turned out that the immortal demon monster came out from the side. It exploded with a shocking aura of the fusion of immortal and demon. It caused the true chi and demon chi in the bodies of the immortal Tao cultivators and the resurrected ancient demon to become chaotic. It was difficult to circulate them. What a terrifying monster! Everyone suddenly realized that this monster, who was unknown whether it was the Tsang Huan Immortal Master or the ancient Netherworld Demon Clan, had hidden its strength just now. Although it was not a supreme powerhouse like the Immortal Emperor, its strength was at least that of a genuine Immortal Emperor. Boom! Boom! 3 consecutive punches, each one hitting the flesh. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong transformed into the body of a divine dragon. In terms of physical strength, it was not inferior to Su Fang's perfect physical body. However, his aura was shattered, his dragon scales fell, and he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. You can withstand 3 of my punches. Not bad. You are qualified to be my target. The immortal demon monster suddenly said coldly. Puff! Celestial Emperor Tian Ong spat out another mouthful of blood with pieces of his internal organs. Then, he asked in disbelief, how can you not be shackled by the divine power of the Dharma treasure? That's because he is my second primordial spirit. The body that resides in is also equivalent to my clone. Su Fang said faintly. In an instant, his body emitted a series of crackling sounds and rapidly expanded. He transformed into a 30-meter-tall giant with golden totems all over his body. The Supreme Emperor, the Overlord's aura, was like a golden god of war. His aura actually suppressed Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's Dragonman transformation. Celestial Emperor Tian Ong, now I will let you have a taste of what it feels like to have your life and death controlled by someone else. Su Fang took a step forward and crossed over 300 meters. He directly arrived in front of Celestial Emperor Tian Ong. With a sweep of his hand, Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's Dragonman transformation was swatted away like a fly. Bang! 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 Boom! Boom! Su Fang's giant form and the immortal demon monster launched a series of fierce attacks on the Dragonman. They did not use any divine ability. They were purely relying on their physical strength. The Dragonman tried to use the supreme divine ability of the Dragon Clan, but it was interrupted time and time again. He had no choice but to fight with his physical body. After Celestial Emperor Tian Ong transformed into a Dragonman, his strength skyrocketed to the peak of the Immortal Emperor realm. However, the strength of the immortal demon monster was beyond his imagination. In addition to Su Fang's giant diamond body, he could still fight back at first. But in the end, he was completely reduced to a sitting duck. Trampled, crushed. The powerhouses of the 8 forces, as well as the surviving ancient devils, were all dumbfounded. It was as if every punch and kick had landed on their bodies, causing them to shudder in fear. Su Fang's strength is unfathomable. His methods are ruthless and he will seek revenge for the smallest grievance. We must not make him an enemy in the future. Celestial Moon Palace's expert, Fluttering Snow Taoist, constantly warned herself. However, on second thought, she could not even protect herself now. How could she be qualified to make Su Fang an enemy in the future? Thinking of this, Fluttering Snow Taoist suddenly felt dispirited. Roar! Long Tian Eng's dragon body was on the verge of collapse. After a dragon roar, he decisively ignited his dragon chi. An earth-shattering explosion blew Su Fang and the immortal demon monster away. Long Tian Eng's primordial spirit took the opportunity to escape. It turned into a shocking young immortal and spoke to Su Fang with his primordial spirit. Su Fang, I'll leave the purple cloud Dharma spirit and the space Dharma treasure with you for now. Soon, my true body will come and take them away personally. At the same time, I will also take your head. Before the primordial spirit's voice had finished, whoosh! A black xianguang shot out from the immortal demon monster's eyes. It released a wave-like primordial spirit's divine power and swept Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's yang immortal away. Ah, how can there be such a powerful primordial spirit? My primordial spirit's consciousness was wiped out by you. It's too late for you to remember now. Su Fang struck out with the heavenly demon blood plate. It released a shocking primordial spirit shackle that shrouded Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's primordial spirit. Although an immortal emperor's primordial spirit was extremely powerful, it could only be crushed by a second primordial spirit. Moreover, this was only a primordial spirit clone of Celestial Emperor Tian Ang. It was easily sucked into the heavenly demon blood plate by Su Fang. With a wave of his hand, the heavenly demon blood plate returned to the divine aperture ocean. He then separated a young immortal and put it into the heavenly demon blood plate. Su Fang, so what if you've wiped out my primordial spirit? At most, it will affect my true body's primordial spirit a little. Just you wait, I won't let you go. Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's primordial spirit was shackled, but he was still extremely arrogant. You forgot again that I won't wipe you out. Instead, I'll use demonic flames to roast you and make you suffer for eternity. Not only your primordial spirit clone, but your true body's primordial spirit will also be shackled here in no time and enjoy the same treatment as you. Su Fang spoke in a chilling voice. With a thought, a ball of demonic flames from the ghouls enveloped Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's primordial spirit. A mournful primordial spirit voice suddenly sounded from a formation in the heavenly demon blood plate. Su Fang's young immortal left the heavenly demon blood plate in embarrassment. Suddenly, the fluttering snow immortal and the 6 experts of the Celestial Moon Palace knelt on the ground with a plop. The fluttering snow immortal and the subordinates of the Celestial Moon Palace are willing to submit to Master. From now on, we will be at Master's disposal. The fluttering snow immortal said loudly. The experts of the Celestial Moon Palace echoed. The experts of the other forces all knelt down and submitted. Su Fang's endless heaven-defying abilities, and the fact that he had at least 2 immortal emperor-level experts under his command, had completely intimidated everyone. In addition, Su Fang's ruthless and decisive methods had really frightened them. Although Celestial Emperor Tian Ang was ruthless and merciless, he could only kill people at most. However, Su Fang even shackled their primordial spirit and burned it with demonic flames forever. Just thinking about this kind of pain was enough to make one shudder, let alone try it. Moreover, they were now inside Su Fang's Tao artifact world. Even Celestial Emperor Tian Ang's clone could not escape. What else could they do other than submit? Su Fang thought that he would have to put in some effort. He did not expect the experts of the other forces to voluntarily submit. After being shocked and stunned, he was overjoyed. Looking at the surviving and revived ancient devils, Su Fang asked, "Are you willing to submit to me? Lowly humans are like ants. Demons will never submit to humans." Chapter 1299. The corpse of a devil that has been dead for millions of years is still so arrogant. What a joke. You don't want to submit? I will directly control your evil consciousness and force you to submit. Su Fang said in a domineering voice. A majestic and boundless shackling force shrouded the resurrected ancient devil. Who knew that at this moment? The devil race will never submit to the human race. The resurrected ancient devils roared in unison. Their bodies exploded almost at the same time, setting off turbulence in all directions. Damn it! The resurrected ancient devils were out of Su Fang's expectation. He raised his eyebrows and fully activated the true Long World's magical treasure, shrouding the explosion of the resurrected ancient devil. Boom! 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 With the help of the magical treasure, Su Fang finally suppressed the explosion. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. The formation that formed the 7th floor of the demon ceiling tower collapsed, revealing the tower. Human Su Fang, the devil race will not let you go. A figure rushed out of the demon ceiling tower like lightning. It was the resurrected ancient devil whose strength had reached the peak of the immortal emperor realm. It turned out that this devil had used the other ancient devil's self-destruction as an opportunity to escape from the demon ceiling tower. You think you can escape from the inner world of the magical treasure? Su Fang sneered. He then struck out a few hand seals, turning into a xian guang and disappeared into the void. In an instant, the entire inner world of the Tao treasure shook violently as if the heavens and earth were being split apart. At the same time, a great change occurred in the giant battle canyon. The true long world was damaged in the war, and was left in the giant battle canyon. As no one was controlling it and the core key was lost, part of the space of this magical treasure was connected to the void of the giant battle canyon. At this moment, Su Fang had become the master of the true long world. After 5 years of integration, he was able to keep the true long world away from the void of the outside world. Su Fang did not do so previously because he was afraid that immortal Emperor Tian Ong would be alerted. Once he escaped from the demon sealing tower, it would be troublesome. Su Fang's control over the true dragon world was still very limited. Even if he could suppress immortal Emperor Tian Ong, Su Fang would still feel heartache as this was his territory. The resurrected elder devil tried his best to escape from the demon sealing tower, but he never expected that he would end up in the world inside the Tao artifact. As Su Fang struck out with the seal, the area where the true dragon realm and the void outside shattered and collapsed, forming shocking spatial turbulence and tearing zones. The true dragon realm, which was not much smaller than a celestial realm, shrank rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it became a 1-foot-wide lotus. Finally, it turned into an almost negligible speck of dust and disappeared into the void. A world in a grain of sand. This was the magical aspect of spatial magic treasures. After the initial shock, everything in the inner world of the true dragon realm returned to normal. Su Fang scanned the entire true dragon realm with his consciousness. He also found the location of the resurrected ancient devil that was running around like a headless fly. Second primordial spirit, capture him. If Su Fang could fully control the true dragon realm, he would not have to go through so much trouble. With just a thought, he could shackle the elder devil and send him to his side. It's easy for me to subdue this elder devil. Second primordial spirit's voice carried supreme arrogance as he stepped out of the demon sealing tower. Su Fang frowned at the disturbance caused by the resurrected ancient devil. Law's voice came from the blood jade in his body. It's just a few immortal emperor experts. It's nothing. What's there to be sad about? Su Fang replied, Law, are all resurrected devils this crazy? After a moment of silence, Luo Yuyu said, I'm afraid so. And this is just the beginning. I speculate that as more and more resurrected devils spread from the ancient battlefield of immortals to the great immortal world like a plague, they will become crazier and crazier as they continue to devour the consciousness of cultivators. Their evil nature will not change. When that time comes, even the devil realm will not be able to control them and the immortal Tao will not be able to resist them. Strength. After coming to the God-burying enclosure this time, my strength has increased by several levels. I'm still far from being able to sweep this immortal domain. It's still far from enough to protect myself in the catastrophe. I'm relieved that you can think this way and not be complacent. Let's not worry about the future for now. I'll first digest the gains from the God-burying enclosure, then kill Yen Xinxin and fulfill the 100-year blood oath. I'll go to Huayan Shinrikyo to get the 1,000 illusion star fire essence. Then I'll go to the Great Qin immortal world and the boundless secular palace to deal with the clear sky myriad scroll door. Then I'll go to the heavenly Tao immortal world and get the third part of the purple Qi Dharma spirit. Qi. Just as Su Fang was planning the future, a shocking tribulation aura suddenly surged out of his body. It turned out that Su Fang had been suppressing his feather immortal 9th Tao realm peak cultivation. Now, he finally reached a point where he could no longer suppress it and was about to ascend to the world immortal realm. He immediately left the true dragon realm and entered the void outside. Giant Battle Canyon. As the true dragon realm was taken away by Su Fang, it caused a huge commotion in the giant battle canyon. Violent space turbulence shot out, rushing out of the canyon. Pieces of the void were twisted and torn apart. Multicolored light flashed. This scene was like returning to the beginning of the giant battle canyon. Whoosh! Whoosh! One figure after another rushed out of the canyon in a sorry state, and then quickly flew away from the two sides of the canyon. More than a dozen figures landed on a mountain peak. They were Long Xiaojun, Huang Lingyao, and the experts from the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm and the Great Qin Immortal Realm. More than half of them had died in the previous incident. Long Xiaojun, Huang Lingyao, and the others were lucky. Immortal Emperor Tian's clone was powerful and didn't need any help, so he left them outside. They were lucky to escape the fate of being captured by Su Fang in one fell swoop. What happened in the giant battle canyon? Why is there such a sudden change? Long Xiaojun's cheek was scratched by a space turbulence. Blood flowed out, and he no longer had the demeanor of a peerless genius from the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm. Could it be that something happened in the place where the body of the peerless expert was sealed? Huang Lingyao was still as cold as before. It shouldn't be. Even if something happened, with Father's peerless strength and the cooperation of the demon race, he should be able to successfully seize the body and return safely, Long Xiaojun said confidently. Staring at the giant battle canyon, Huang Lingyao said coldly, "After the battle of the Land of Death, Su Fang disappeared. I don't know if he went to the place where the body was sealed." "Lingyao, don't worry about him. Father has his lifeline in his hands. He has to go even if he doesn't want to. I'm afraid that Father has already captured him alive." Huang Lingyao sighed inwardly. She hoped that Su Fang didn't enter the place where the body was sealed. Only then would she have a chance to wash away the shame of losing to him. Long Xiaojun saw through Huang Lingyao's thoughts and comforted her. "Lingyao, although Su Fang is extraordinary, he doesn't know what's good for him. He goes against the heavens and won't amount to anything. He's just an ant. Don't worry about him." Buzz. Long Xiaojun suddenly took out a rune from his storage ring. He deciphered the information in the rune. Shock filled Long Xiaojun's eyes. Emperor Ning's residence suddenly attacked the constellation of 9 heavens. Even Emperor Ning's true body was involved. This news came as a surprise to Huang Lingyao and the others. Over the years, in order to cope with the calamity, expand their forces, seize the ethereal true solution, and stop the rise of Star Palace, the Tiandao Immortal Realm and Emperor Ning's residence had been secretly encroaching on the territories of the constellation of 9 heavens and the clear sky myriad scroll door. They even directly killed the experts of the two sections. However, the two sects were powerful forces after all. They had deep foundations. If they wanted to uproot them, they would have to pay a heavy price. It would be a long time before they attacked the sects directly. Emperor Ning's residence. While the other forces were focused on the god-burying enclosure, they suddenly attacked the constellation of 9 heavens. This was too unexpected. What a ruthless and decisive supreme tranquility emperor! Long Xiaojun showed his domineering side, and made a prompt decision. This immortal realm will soon be in turmoil. We must return to the Tiandao Immortal Realm immediately. Someone hesitated and asked, "Emperor Ning's clone is still in the giant battle canyon." Long Xiaojun interrupted him. "With Father's strength, why do we need to worry? It won't be long before he returns to the Tiandao Immortal Realm with the body of the supreme expert." At the same time, on the other side of the giant battle canyon, Huayan Shinrikyo also received the same news. All the experts were shocked and their hearts were in turmoil. On the altar, Yen Xinxin was humiliated by Su Fang, who called him Yen Nu Exin. This made Yen Xinxin suffer a setback that he had never experienced before. Huayan Shinrikyo withdrew from the sealed land. Hearing the news that Emperor Ning's residence was attacking the constellation of 9 heavens, Yen Xinxin's previous decadence was swept away. His ambition swelled and burned again. His eyes emitted a hale and hearty light. "I, Yen Xinxin, have the twin swords of destruction. I will become the overlord of this immortal realm. This immortal realm is about to fall into turmoil. This is the time for me, Yen Senshin, to show my strength. How can I be defeated by this small setback? Thinking of this, Yen Senshin's body shone with a peerless radiance again. Su Fang is just a stepping stone on my path to becoming a supreme expert. What right do you have to shake my Tao heart? Su Fang, I, Yen Senshin, will stand on the stage of this immortal realm. You are just an ant. How can you compete with me? You better come out of the giant battle canyon. I will kill you with my own hands and use your blood to sharpen my Tao heart. Looking into the depths of the giant battle canyon, Yen Senshin's eyes burned with intense killing intent. Then he shouted coldly, "Let's go back to the sect." Most of the experts from the 8 forces who came to the god-burying enclosure to seize the bodies of the supreme experts were trapped in the true long world. They either died or became Su Fang's slaves. However, there were also some who quit halfway. The people from the constellation of 9 heavens were one of them. What? Emperor Ning's mansion is attacking the sect? Even Emperor Ning himself is coming? The news was like a clap of thunder, shocking the experts from the constellation of 9 heavens. They were all dumbfounded and their faces turned pale. Let's go back to the sect. Out Yen Zhenhen shouted angrily and was about to leave. However, the first elder, who was the leader of the team, hesitated and said, "Elder Ao Tian, if he is not sure, the Supreme Tranquility Emperor will not come in person. When we arrive at the Star Palace, I'm afraid that the Star Palace would have been broken by the Tranquility Emperor. If we go back now, wouldn't it be like flying into the fire?" When Emperor Ning's name was mentioned, the experts from the Star Palace were all in awe. They all agreed with the Great Elder. Out Yen Zhenhen raised his eyebrows and said, "Great Elder, what do you mean? As the people of the Star Palace, how can we shrink back when the sect is in danger?" Someone tried to persuade him, "Elder Aotian, the sect has imprisoned you in the Aotian Peak for 100,000 years because of the demonic butterfly. Why do you, even if the sect betrays me, I, Aotian Zhenhen, would rather die than betray the Star Palace? You are afraid of death, but I am not. If I die for the sect, why should I be afraid of death?" Ao Tian Zhonghen left behind the clanging sound and left Giant Battle Canyon alone. Someone mocked him from behind,